could have worked out a business model where you were paying those guys $250,000 a year, $150,000 depending on your position. We thought that was a business model that would have worked better than spring football.
It was kind of, what was that random league? We did a live show from the draft or a live remote from the draft.
They never played a game.
They never even played a game. That was almost their plan.
Yeah, and I remember they were spending a lot of money, and I don't think those checks ever cashed.
Oh, did they not?
I don't think so.
I know the snaps never snapped.
Sounds like a salesperson had to give a little of that one back in commission. ImageCraft brings us this part of the show before we get to the trash. ImageCraft.
Yeah, if you're a car dealership, a mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, university, pharmacy, you do a lot of printing in your office. ImageCraft is who you need to reach out to right now because they specialize in low-cost printer and copier supplies, and they've been doing it a very long time. They carry all the major brands: HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, Xerox, and they will give you free delivery on in-stock items in the Birmingham area, free shipping outside the Birmingham area. So basically with ImageCraft, you print more and you spend less. Here are your promo codes. TNR for 10% off in-store right there in Trussville on Gadsden Highway next to the Pinnacle Shopping Center, or online at imagecraft.net. Code TNR10 to save 10% on your orders there. Imagecraft.net, code TNR10.
This is from Royal Payne. Great question. And we touched on this a little bit yesterday about the SEC having so many teams in the NCAA tournament. He says, we all know that 3 conference teams and 1 Final Four is the record. That was Riley Massimino and those guys back in that Final Four, right? 3.
Yeah, Lou Carnesecca, John Thompson, and, Riley Massimino.
So 3 Big East teams in the Final Four is the record. Pretty sure after asking AI, the Elite 8 record is 4 Big East teams in 2011, and the Sweet 16 is 6 ACC teams in 2016. Which, if any, will the SEC break this year is his question. He says he thinks 7 Sweet 16 teams will be doable this year for the SEC to break that one.
Well, you guys, the Big East, back to that. I mean, you only had 2 teams make the Sweet 16, which is kind of crazy. You brought that up
yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's why he's asking this question off of what you brought up yesterday.
I need 7 Sweet 16 teams, right? Do you want me to use the net or the Ken Palm?
7 Sweet 16 teams. Use the whichever one. We respect Ken Palm.
All right, let's go to Ken Palm. Ken Palm. My mom the other day was like, what is this Ken Palm pond thing y'all keep talking about on this show? Like,
I mean, with the number that you think they're going to get in, you might have a second-round matchup, right?
Well, I think we would have a second-round matchup.
Auburn won. This is from Ken Palm.
Okay, Auburn's getting to the second weekend. I feel good about that. I know you did last year. It didn't work out, but I would say that's one for sure.
4-4.
I would say Florida gets the second weekend.
Tennessee 5.
Tennessee gets the second.
Rick Barnes has been tricky there, but generally get at least to the second weekend. Bama 6.
I think Bama gets to the second weekend.
All right, now here's where you may have to start thinking a little bit more.
We got to get 3 more just to break the record.
Texas A&M is 13th in the Ken Palm.
I think Texas A&M gets there.
I'm 50-50 on them. But if I've got another 50-50, that's going to move 5, I think.
Now here's a batch of SEC teams, 18, 19, and 20 in the Ken Palm. Kentucky?
I'm 50-50 on Kentucky, so I'll go 5 now, just personally for me.
Missouri? Put me in the doubters camp here.
Yeah,
I still don't
doubt a little bit. I need 3 Missouris to get to 6.
Now, here's one just based on coaching I feel good about. Hotty Toddy, Mississippi. That's the way they're listed in Ken Palm. We here in the South Column Ole Miss.
Still is shaky to win 2 games.
Yeah, but you trust the coach there, don't you?
I do.
I feel like one of the 2, Ole Miss or Mississippi State, will get to the second weekend.
State's your next one at 31 in the Ken Palm.
So I'm going to take one of those 3. That gives me 6.
I'm sort of with you on 6.
Yeah. Okay, well, now you're down to Texas and Georgia, your next 2.
I think that's it.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com. The latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. That's nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
A pretty crazy NFL story from the New York Post we'll get to later in the show. Some expanding NCAA Tournament and college football playoff news coming up. All the locker room sound from the historic game in Tuscaloosa, and that's where we'll start, guys. I've talked about it a couple of times. I'll set you up by saying two things. It's more about Auburn than it is Alabama, that win, because Auburn was dominant in that game. And from a national perspective, I keep hearing people say that's the best win in college basketball this year, what Auburn did on Saturday to Alabama, 94-85. Take it away. What's your reaction?
I mean, look, it was dominant. I mean, when you go 40 minutes on the road in number two's building, and just to put it in perspective, Nate Oates has coached 87 games there, and he's never had a team that didn't lead at any minute. Boy, that was a statement. Look, and I know Alabama came back and they tied it, and there was a little excitement and, you know, giving fans a little bit of what they paid for. But, I mean, wire to wire to never trail. And, you know, for a minute, it seemed like they were at arm's length the entire time until they tied it up. For a minute, though, it seemed like it was going to go the other way, and Auburn was going to win this game like 12 to 14 points.
I don't know how it can be considered the best win in basketball this year. I don't know even what is second.
Yeah,
I mean, second might be Auburn's Duke's win versus Auburn. Honestly,
that would be where I would go. But for Auburn, you know, I had said all year long I thought their comeback win over Iowa State in the Maui Classic was a dang good win until Iowa State sort of fell off a little bit. Auburn's got a bunch of them. Florida's win at Auburn will rank high up there right now.
Sure, there's no doubt.
But
I guess that'd have to be number two if you're going to say Alabama's win at Auburn is number one. Florida's a 1 seed right now, and they won at Auburn. That's probably the second best.
It would be,
I think Florida's win at Auburn, and then probably Duke's win over Auburn.
That's
so
right.
Auburn's involved in all the big wins right now.
Yeah.
And that's what it is when you're the dominant team. But, you know, it's hard, and it sounded stupid when I said this post-game, and I said it again yesterday a couple of times, but Alabama scored 85 points. Mm-hmm. They scored 52 in the second half. But my biggest takeaway from this game was still Auburn's defense.
No, especially the first half.
Alabama had 32 in the first half, I think it was. 33 in the first half. And there was nothing easy in that. It never felt like anything was easy all day long. If you're for an Alabama person, it was harder to get into the arena. It was harder to go to the bathroom. It was harder to go to the concession stand because it was jam-packed in that place. And it was harder for the basketball team to move around the court, to even shoot threes. Nothing easy.
You'll talk about Todd Pettiford being the hero in this game. You'll talk about Janai Broome playing through a re-aggravation of his ankle injury, being a hero in this game. The true hero in this game was Denver Jones and his defense on Mark Sears. That was spectacular.
Yeah, Sears.
I mean, he locked Sears down.
He did. I mean, Sears, what did he finish? 4 of 17?
Yeah. I mean, Sears got points. He got, 18, I believe?
Yeah.
But it was not the 18 points that Mark Sears needed to get for Alabama, if that makes any sense. Denver Jones on Alabama's entire backcourt, whoever he was on, completely shut them down. His defense was spectacular. And to me, if you have to, pick one thing that won Auburn that game, that's got to be it. When Alabama's guards can't get going, that offense just gets bogged down. We've seen it against Ole Miss, and we saw it. I say bogged down. They still scored in the 80s, but
that's what made it so weird to say that.
I know, but it is.
You're exactly
they were
right.
bogged down.
You're exactly right.
But I think going into the game, if you would have said, "Hey, Bruce, you guys are going to hold Alabama to 85 in Coleman," I think he'd have been like, "I'll take that."
Yeah, because Auburn is the team that can beat you however you play. They can beat Tennessee 53-51, and they can beat Alabama 94-85. Because Auburn, look at what they shot more. They shot, well, I don't know if they ended up shooting more threes than Alabama, but they did for the first half for sure. They were putting up more threes than Alabama, and that's Alabama's style. They made a lot more than Alabama made. They can beat you at your game, and they've done it to Tennessee. They've done it to so many teams. They did it to Alabama over the weekend. Let's hear from some post-game here. Let's go first. We'll cut one, Bruce Pearl. Post-game after the Auburn win over Alabama, 94-85. I'll say this. Atmosphere was unbelievable.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that before we get too deep in the X's and O's. On TV, it came across that way, and everybody I've talked to said, Alabama and Auburn fans were like, well, first of all, Bruce Pearl's as loud as he's ever heard Coleman, and he said even go back to my Tennessee days. Yeah. He said that on ESPN.
Taylor said it was a little off, though.
A little off?
Yeah, she said that Alabama, when in pivotal moments, like Alabama fans were obviously very vocal when they would make big shots, and in that comeback a little bit to tie it up. But she said there were other times it just seemed like it was a little off.
Well, when you get down 14.
A totally different experience than that. I mean, when you're down 9-0 to start with, Auburn took the crowd out of it, but the atmosphere was unbelievable. The buzz before the game, from the national anthem until Auburn scored 9 points and it's 9-0. Now you sit back down when you're down 9-0. You sit your butt down. You don't cheer at that point.
Yeah, I will tell you, from
9-0.
It almost played out not like the Super Bowl, but a little bit from my perspective on the couch. I had Auburn, so I liked the outcome, but sitting on the couch, it was never a great game.
Yeah, they would get back Brownie. Yeah. They'd cut it to within one possession.
Yep.
And then Auburn would go on a run.
Almost always like a 7-0, 9-0 run.
Yeah. And it would get back to 9 or 10 or 11.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would wonder if this Auburn team is great, but if you wonder, that's what great teams do. Yeah. When you get challenged, especially on the road, you don't just match buckets. You're able to take the lead back and then extend it. Yeah. And that's what Auburn has done very, very well. They did that at Ole Miss, too. I mean, that's probably Auburn's two toughest road games so far, other than Duke, two toughest conference road games, at Ole Miss and at Alabama. And they did the same exact thing against Ole Miss. Ole Miss kept coming back and either tying that game or making it a one-possession game, and Auburn would go on a 7-0, 9-0 run and extend the lead. And that's what they did all day Saturday.
Yeah.
And did it. I mean, you got to say this, Lance, did it Saturday. Cardwell was in foul trouble the whole game, ends up fouling out. Chad Baker-Mazara was on and off the bench. He's banged up. He had the issue with Chris Youngblood.
Had the issue with a woman in the first row.
With people in the front row. I mean, so he was on and off. Janai Broome is sitting on the bench with his shoe off. Like, I didn't think he was going to come back in. You go to the bench, have to take your shoe off, and he's already limping, asking out of the game. I was like, you may not see Janai Broome again. I mean, that was far from a full-strength Auburn team that did that.
Well, I thought Janai was going to go 30 and 20 in the first 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah. When he starts training threes.
Yeah, I mean, he was even backing Mo Diabate down when they tried him on him. It was an impressive win. But for the atmosphere, great atmosphere, and then you'd get back to within one possession, and the place would be juiced, and then they'd go on a 7-0 run, and you'd sit down again. You'd lean back in your chair. And you'd be like, all right, I'm now worried if you're an Alabama fan about this being a blowout. And then they'd fight back and get to one possession. And they'd get back into it, and the roof would be ready to come off. And then it would fall back and down 9 again.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like every time you looked up, you were down 9.
Have you, a couple of things. So you've been to a lot of games at Coleman over the years. But Taylor said it seemed like that was by far the most people she's ever seen in that building.
Yeah.
Like,
there's been more because they reduced the capacity when they put those suites in at that one end.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about the way it would look with amount of seats to spectators.
Easily the most, like the students, I believe, get 2,300 seats. And I sat and watched people that had roles in the game bring in +2 in the student section. Like I'd see a person walk in and like, oh, they were with me, and they'd walk those 2 students up. The students were in the aisles. So there's probably 2,500, 2,600 students. And there were a lot more people in there than there were seats.
But occasionally
if you're asking me, was it as full as I've ever seen Coleman Coliseum in this reconfiguration, or maybe all time? Yeah, absolutely.
Occasionally, even in a big game, no matter where the venue, in a big game, they'll scan the crowd and you'll see a couple of empty seats, and you're like, oh, somebody didn't get to make it or couldn't lay their tickets on. I didn't see any of that. They'd scan the crowd. There was not an open seat.
I didn't see a ton of Auburn fans. And back to the thing we talked about a couple of weeks ago, did Alabama fans not sell their tickets?
No, dude. I was the same way because some Auburn fans wore orange, and it jumped out. But if you're in blue and you're up high at Coleman Coliseum, what
It's
happens?
so dark.
You're in the
It's so
dark.
You
Yeah.
can't see them. So I said the same thing during the national anthem. I was like, dang, Alabama fans did good keeping the Auburn fans out of here. There's a few here, there's a few there.
And it's hard in Coleman, it being at home, because you only see so much.
Yeah.
And you're obviously going to see a lot of Auburn fans behind the Auburn bench, but it just didn't look like a lot from my perspective.
Most of them I do believe were on the camera side in the high, but when Auburn would go on a run, they were loud. You'd hear them in there. And then late in the game, as last couple of minutes, when Alabama fans were filing out, they were able to move closer down. And you probably saw, I'd put an estimate at about 1,500 to 2,000 Auburn fans, which is a lot.
That's about what we said. Was 1,500 was what we thought.
But it didn't look like that at the start of the game. I was like, man, there were four, like row four right behind. I was like, how'd they get there? I mean, padded arm, cup holders. There's a family of four there. I was like, those
money. What was
those people aren't going to be on a Greg Byrne watch list.
I mean, did you guys hear what the ticket ended up going for?
I think I saw pregame your good seats were like 12 to 1,300.
Reese Davis said on game day, get in. Worst seat in the house was 500.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that changed as you got closer to the tip.
I think I saw Big House, Michael Casagrande, track down an Auburn fan up in the upper reaches, like worst seat in the house, it looked like, upper corner baseline.
ZZ.
Yeah, whatever that is, and said that guy told him he bought it for $331 on the secondary market. Now, I don't know if he bought that to day of the game or 2 weeks ago. You don't know. But $331 for that seat, it was a bad seat, I'll go and tell you.
I would just tell you that I go to a lot of sporting events. And during the national anthem, which was, again, young lady, I didn't remember her name. It was an unbelievable rendition of the national anthem.
Was it the same girl that sang it at the Boutwell thing? She was spectacular.
I don't know if it was.
Young girl, you remember? And her uncle is a huge fan of the show.
This girl looked to be a college student.
Okay.
She didn't sing Team USA, Team Canada, did she, before?
But it was an unbelievable rendition. Unbelievable. And the place was juiced after that. And they were screaming during her national anthem because she was so good at it.
Yeah.
And the Rockets, and she'd hit a note and the crowd.
Well, I love that, man. When they're so good, it makes you cheer during the anthem.
They were cheering during the whole thing. And it was as, I mean, I can compare it to anything I've ever been to leading up to the tip. It was unbelievably juiced. And then Auburn several times took the air out and won the game 94 to 85. Here's Bruce Pearl afterwards on what he saw happen at Coleman Coliseum. Tyler, hit that button now, man.
You never know that whether or not a game can live up to the hype. We were very prepared. Coaches did a great job with the game plan. The kids executed early. You got to play well early if you're going to win on the road. We played well early, as you would expect. Alabama came storming back, and the place was, I've never heard Coleman this loud. But it was a really clean game. It was a really clean game, which I was really pleased about. I don't know, Nate talked to his team about that because that's how the number one teams in the country should act. That's how they should compete. That's how they should play.
Really now you had the Chad Baker-Mazara on the baseline issue, but that's fans and Chad Baker-Mazara.
We never got a good angle on that. I was telling Taylor, did the ball on the block hit the lady?
Oh, because that was on the next. That was
on the
right
next
after.
one.
Yeah. My wife said it did, and I rewound. My wife watched the whole game. I don't know why. It's the first basketball game she's watched all year.
But on the two replays, it didn't show where the ball actually went.
But that was Chad Baker-Mazara on the block too.
That's what I'm saying.
Hustle, vicious block,
and it went right back at the area where he had just had the interaction.
And that's and Taylor was like, it was like the lady was upset. She wanted him teed up, like he purposely did that. That would be incredible if you can go down and block a shot, aim it at the individual in the crowd that you want.
I know. That's athleticism. But really the only, Diabate had a bloody lip, but that when they show the replay, that was just, hard basketball. I don't think there was anything intentional there.
I think at one time, I can't forget one Auburn player was holding it. Maybe it was Janai. Somebody was holding their face at one point. Yeah. You catch an elbow every now and then.
That's
now,
basketball.
Chad Baker-Mazara had a flagrant foul.
That's what I was going to say. Okay. That was the one thing when people were talking about, technicals, over-under on number of technicals. I think you said you wholly expected that there would be a technical to settle things down, a double tech. in that game. The only thing that got remotely close was the thing with Youngblood and Chad Baker-Mazara.
And that was like an open hand, like weak slap kind of.
And Youngblood just immediately gets up and starts asking for the replay. I mean, he wasn't looking, nor was Baker-Mazara. I mean, Youngblood had ridden him out of bounds. Chad Baker-Mazara kind of open hand hits him in the face, and Youngblood's immediately, he's just wanting the free throws.
So you didn't see that as a swing?
It was close. When I saw it on one angle, I was like, oh, yeah, that's flagrant. Yeah. And then on the other, I was like, man, it was so weak. I know he intentionally did it.
No, he 100% intentionally did it.
But I just don't know if it rose up to a flagrant.
Yeah, I think the refs
has
got
to
it
be
right.
not a basketball thing for it to rise up to a flagrant.
But it was
a slap is not a basketball thing.
Very embarrassing slap.
Yeah. No,
it's like I almost don't call it because I'm like, dude, that was weak.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was fine with the foul. It actually was the turning point of not a turning point really, but it's what sealed Alabama's fate.
Oh, Alabama missed an opportunity there.
If you're Youngblood, you get 2 free throws and Alabama gets the ball, and Alabama got 1 point out of that. It's almost impossible to only get 1 point out of that situation where you get a free throw or 2 free throws and the ball to set up your offense, go full court and set up your offense, just normal possession, and you got 1 point out of it.
I assume there's not a rule in the SEC like there is in the NBA. I believe there's an NBA rule that if you get so many flagrant fouls, you get a 1-game suspension, right? Didn't we have that with Draymond at some point?
Oh, yeah. He got suspended Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I mean, that's 2 at games I've been at for Chad Baker.
I think it's 17 is the number, I think.
Yeah.
In the NBA?
That's a huge number in the
It
NBA.
is, right?
It is.
Hey, Draymond got there.
Yeah. I assume there's not a rule because you just don't see many flagrant fouls in college basketball. I don't think Chad Baker-Mazara is on his way to missing a game for accumulating too many flagrant fouls, but that's at least 2 I've seen in person.
Yeah, I don't know what the
one
number
at the
would be.
Oklahoma game when the Fears kid was trying to get punched the whole game, running his mouth, and then Youngblood and Chad Baker in this one. Give me cut 4. Brown, pull up the box score, if you will.
Got it right here, my friend.
Give me the Alabama total number of assists in this game.
Okay.
This was a mind-boggling number. At the half, I think Alabama had 4 assists.
I think you're right about that.
In the game. 4 assists in the half. What did they end up with?
That'd be 8.
8
Auburn
assists.
had 13, they had 8. Yeah.
8 assists is all Alabama had. How quickly can you pull up the Texas game the week before? Earlier in the week. Because Texas, that game, Alabama made that extra pass, and I'm not making a comparison here because Texas plays Olay defense, and Auburn may be the best defensive team in the country. But Alabama made 1 extra pass, 2 extra passes, and had open looks all day
that
long.
is something that really jumps out. I mean, watching Texas, a team like Texas and a team like Auburn within days.
Yeah, 17 is what Bama had against. So they had 11 more,
assists?
17 assists, had 9 more assists.
Yeah. You know who noticed that? Nate Oates after the game.
And we got plenty of stuff we can clean up on, starting with our ball movement. Part of the reason you shoot 48% at the rim is you don't move the ball. You get 7 shots blocked, and we only had 8 assists. It's a season low by far. The other time we were low was Ole Miss. We only had 11 assists. Had a little bit of similar issues where the ball didn't move too much ISO. At least we didn't turn it over 20 times this game, but it was just too many bad shots. We didn't get good enough shots on offense, and defensively we gave them too many threes, and they got guys that make tough threes. I mean, we told our guys don't look at the bench after they make a tough 3. That's what they do. We need to do a little bit better job executing the game plan. We need to do a better job putting together a little bit better game plan as coaches the next time we play them. But they're a good team. We know that. They've proven to be the number 1 team in the country. We were not today, but we move on. We got 6 games left before the SEC tournament. We need to be great in all 6.
Okay, we'll break it down a lot of ways throughout the show, but that's the other side of this was Alabama's defense. How many passes Auburn made to set up Chaney Johnson or Pettiford or Denver Jones or somebody to have maybe you had a late Alabama guy coming out to try to disrupt it, but as you're getting into your shooting motion, they were open threes. Ball movement so much better for Auburn.
And you were at the game, so you didn't hear. And Lance, I don't know how many times Billis must have said this, and it was such a good game plan by Auburn that worked, is that midcourt screen right there at the top of the key. Alabama just couldn't deal with that. And Billis kept pointing it out. He's like, Auburn is feasting off this top of the key screen, basically.
I did think, and Nate was just talking about tough threes that they make, the Pettiford and transition. I think it was after the Youngblood three, was it? Youngblood?
No. It's at that point. I think it was 65-65. That was the first tie. They put the bucket. I think it was a 2-pointer from Grant Nelson.
Okay.
And 65-65, and then you're talking about Pettiford down there.
Oh, yeah.
Just stops and pops.
Stops and pops, and then right after that, off the top of the glass and the foul.
Yeah.
I mean, look, his 11 second-half points were crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I thought because I gotta see what the box score tells me.
To your point on the 3-pointer, that's NBA like. Like he's going full speed on the dribble, and to stop into your shooting motion like that.
That's probably a shot that you might hit 20% of the time, maybe.
Because it's full run dribble, and for him to stop, and while stopping, it's going into the shooting motion, and the net doesn't move on it. It's just unbelievable.
Like I really thought maybe Broome was the best offensive player for Auburn. Most interject, offensive player were the 2 freshmen. Philon for Alabama, to me, probably played his best in respect to what everyone else on the roster was doing that day.
Yeah,
Philon played his best. I mean, he had 10 points.
Yeah, he did. He was not creating a 3-point shot for himself.
Nobody was.
No,
though.
but that's
but I was just
LT
gonna
watches
say,
more NBA than you and I do. The difference between NBA guards or players in general and college players, the guys that can play at the NBA, no matter the defense, they create their own shot.
Yeah, they get it off every time.
I'm just saying, with respect to what they normally do in a game of that magnitude, I thought, with respect to what they normally do, Philon, I thought the 2 freshmen might have been the 2 best players out there.
Yeah. I thought Grant Nelson had opportunities.
They couldn't finish
Needed
at the rim.
a little bit more from him.
Yeah, Alabama struggled at the rim.
And I'll say, though, man, if you would have said Alabama only had 7 turnovers, you're like, oh, damn, they won this game. But then on the flip side, if you're like, well, they were 5 of 26 behind the arc.
But Nate has preached no turnovers so much. I thought they were hesitant on their ball movement.
Maybe so, because, look, that is part of the DNA of this team. We've said it.
That's right.
Like, you're just not going to clean those up, and they cleaned it up, but maybe there was some hesitation, and the ball movement wasn't nearly as good.
Because we'll use a football comparison here. Do you want a quarterback that thinks an extra second to not put a ball in harm's way? Sometimes you just gotta let it rip. Sometimes
that was Mahomes last Sunday, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to get an interception. Sometimes you got to feel it. You got to let it rip on time.
Well, but even turnovers aside, Auburn didn't let them run, and that's so much of Alabama is missed shot, rebound, outlet pass. It's in the offensive front court before you can even blink.
I leaned Auburn was the best team in college basketball going into the game. I don't think there's any doubt now.
It will be, when we get to everybody filling out their bracket. It'll be. Auburn will be the team to beat. They will be the team to beat.
I don't know if it'll be as prevalent as UConn after winning national championship in 23 with, 40% of the brackets having UConn. Right. But there's going to be a good amount. I know we had the bracket preview show.
Yeah, it was 1-2 in that, by the way, too.
I don't think Auburn's going anywhere. Like, would that not blow you away if they're not on the one line?
We'll get to that later in the show. But it absolutely was. I mean, it's Auburn and everyone else, and the selection committee said that. And then Lenardi and others are backing it up. Brown will give us that later on. The show brought to you by a couple of great sponsors. One of them, our friends at Johnston RV Center, johnstonrvcenter.com.
I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Thankfully, the 2 RV shows have just gone tremendous for Johnston RV Center. They're probably today trying to catch their breath from all of you that came by and saw them at the BJCC, but you can still get great prices there on the lot at Johnston RV Center. Go see them for yourself. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, where you always get that warranty on anything that is new or qualifying, pre-owned. JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Yep, and our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA. Stay on top of your health, guys. Prostate health, kidney stones, everything in between. UCA can help you out. Urology Centers of Alabama, 205-930-0920, urologycentersalabama.com. 16 locations in Central Alabama, 16 of them, one near you to help you out in a very convenient fashion. And this is a place you want to sort of, get into at an early age, and then as you age, get a little bit older, they'll stay on top of your urological health. Really good people to go touch base with now and stay in touch with the rest of your life. 205-930-0920, Urology Centers, Alabama.com. So we mentioned Florida's win over Auburn. Janai Broome afterwards gets asked by our friends at ABC 3340 about what changed since that Florida game to this big win in Tuscaloosa. Here's Janai Broome.
What do you feel like has changed maybe in your preparation and practice to change the result of these last two games and play more like that number one team?
I mean, like you said, we're the number one team in the country, so we just got to get our swagger back, and play Auburn basketball. Florida, they score way too many points. Our defense lacked a lot that game, but as you can see, when we play Auburn basketball, we're the only team that can beat us.
I do wonder with Broome, he was coming into that game not playing 100%. Charles Barkley said on our show. I think every Auburn fan in the MyBookie.ag chat has said it. You can just tell. You can tell he's not 100%, but he's playing through it. But then he re-injured it during the game. And you wonder, where is he right now? Would 2 games of rest fix it? Is this just something he's dealing with the rest of the year? I don't know. Nobody knows the answer to that probably.
Well, if you're going to do it, these next 2 games are where you would do it.
Which is kind of why I brought that up. You wonder if at some point do you sit him right now? You've got...
But I'll tell you, he's still playing for National Player of the Year for whatever that means.
I know.
And to me, that's big.
Well, let me. I know what you were both saying. Let me ask you a question. Do you hang a banner for National Player of the Year or National Championship?
No, but I brought this up on the Basketball Show podcast that's out now, the new one we recorded yesterday. If they win the SEC tournament and the National Championship, maximum number of games he has left in an Auburn basketball uniform is 15.
Okay.
So you're going to tell Janai Broome he's going to sit 2 weeks and he only has 11 left?
Yeah.
And
if I think he needs that to get healthy,
I do think there's probably a conversation there, depending on the depth of the injury right now.
But Bruce has said a couple of times that Janai wants to keep playing. He never brings up NBA stock.
But that was before the re-aggravation. If it was a re-aggravation, I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But if it is re-aggravated and you have the conversation, hey, maybe we rushed you or you rushed back a little too quickly.
That was one of the questions we had in the mailbag. Should you sit him for 2 weeks if you're guaranteed to get him 100% for the postseason? I don't know if you're guaranteed to get him 100%.
Well, that would be my question.
They keep saying that you can't re-injure it, and I assume rest can't help, or maybe they would have set him already.
And that's all I'm saying is if the doctors tell Bruce rest is not doing any good, then you play him. And I know Bruce Pearl is a Hall of Fame coach. He's going to make the best decision for Janai Broome and the team there. It'd be silly on Bruce's part to continue to play him just for National Player of the Year honors and risk losing him or having him diminished in the postseason. It just got scary a little bit there when he's having to ask out of the game. You don't see that out of Janai Broome.
And if you do have a professional,
and it takes his shoe off.
Multiple opinions that are like, hey, I really think he's going to be close to 100% if he's given X amount of time off. I do think you take a look at it. I don't think he will, though. And those 2 games we're talking about are home games against Arkansas and Georgia, where they're going to be healthy double-digit favorites.
And you don't have an insurmountable SEC lead, but boy, it's going to be hard for them not to win the SEC now.
Yeah. And I think it would be hard for them to lose those games without Janai Broome.
I know. You're a lock 1 seed. I mean, everything is still on the table, even if you stumbled in one of those 2 games.
No, not even one of those 2, Brandy. I really believe they could lose 6 games and still be on the one line.
What's the number before? It's grown now.
I think they could lose every single SEC game
remaining
the rest of the way and still be that 4th 1 seed. I don't think they can fall off the one line because there's a gap between them and everyone else.
I'm going to disagree with that.
That sounds a little.
That's going to put them at 9 losses.
Well, guess what? It's not going to happen. So
we ain't going to have to worry about it.
You can't prove me wrong because it ain't going to happen. All right.
I don't know. I mean, I think they lose again, but hell, who knows?
The SEC race, we'll talk about that. We'll talk more about the game. Some more from the Alabama locker room. What's ahead for Alabama? How can they pick up the pieces? My God, I'm glad they didn't have to play on Sunday because I was still in the doldrums. I can only imagine how bad they felt.
Could you sleep Saturday night?
I had no problem sleeping Saturday night when I finally went to bed at 2 o'clock. Mumbling about Pat freaking Adams. No, it had nothing to do with officiating. Other than, I joked with Little T about this. I said, go back and watch the toss to start the game.
Okay.
It is the worst toss. Vladimir, whatever his name is, the official, needs to work on his toss. He basically throws it to Dylan Cardwell. He does this.
Did you see?
He goes up like
and
this.
it's really not that difficult just to throw it straight up.
But
you
he's
know?
doing it with both hands, and he apparently is right-handed because it goes right to Dylan Cardwell. But Alabama had 39 minutes and 59 seconds to overcome the illegal toss.
Yeah, really. You were not watching on TV. Billis destroyed Pat Adams when he's on the mic and he's like, "Are they in the bonus?" He's like, "Yes, they're in the bonus.
Yeah.
They've been in the bonus for 5 minutes."
Yeah, Billis.
He's like, "How do you not know that?"
No Fs. And he did. I mean, we do have way too many monitor calls with officiating coming over. It just kills the flow of the game.
I could not believe those 3 officials were assigned to that game. The Lindsey guy is good. Pat Adams is
he was lost. He was lost on Saturday.
Does not rise up to the level of a 1-2 matchup.
Yeah, neither team was happy to see him.
And then I was told at game day when Little T sent out the list of the officials, I was told by somebody that the third guy,
Vladimir,
does not grade out very high compared to the elite of the guys who officiate SEC basketball.
Surprising.
And how they got that game.
Yeah.
Like I don't know any of their names, but I could picture the 3 in my head I thought would have been the officiating crew for that game.
And it was none of the 3 that you saw?
The Lindsey guy.
The Lindsey guy?
The one
Okay.
guy was. And then one of the guys that should have been there was the guy that came over to us and said, "Hey, no, we're not keeping up with personal fouls." And LT said, what did you say?
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
That'll be fun. And he said,
For who?
Yeah. No, that was me. My sarcasm, by the way, knowing that we were going to be up there all damn night. And how long did that game last?
And we were.
But his response was, and he should have been at that game too. He's one of the better officials. And then that old guy.
Well, you know what they didn't have to do that night was call fouls.
Yeah, they did.
Because apparently it didn't matter to anyone.
I can't, but that seems forever ago, and we're still in the middle of basketball season. 3 weeks away from the
Still 6 games left.
Did you
the
guys
conference
realize
tournaments.
these teams would be this good this year, though?
I did not.
No, I was writing down, Alabama coming off of a loss. They're 21-4 and 10-2 in the best conference of all time.
It's one of the best seasons in Alabama basketball history right now.
And Auburn's 23-2.
I know.
I mean, if they're in the West Coast Conference with the Gonzaga and nobody else, 23-2 is impressive as hell. And they played the toughest schedule in the country. They have 14 quad 1 wins, and they're 23-2.
It's crazy.
It's insanity. More basketball and everything else going on, including don't mess around with the national anthem. We'll get to that coming up on the show that's being brought to you by our friends at Odie's. LT, tell us about Odie's, and we'll tell you also about our friends at the Golfers.
Great place to go for lunch or dinner. 2 locations, the original in Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. You've got the ice cold beer buckets, great food from Rodney Davis, from the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches like that Diablo sandwich. Chili is fantastic on a week like this where it's in the 30s, 40s. Stop and see Will Haver and that great staff. Birmingham Institution, it's Odie's Tavern.
And it is always 70 degrees. There's never any rain, never any wind inside the golf. As I played golf Saturday morning before the Bama and Auburn game, it was wet, it was windy, it was colder than I had thought. You know where you don't deal with that? The Golfers. It's Birmingham's best golf simulators, and you can find them right there on Highway 31 in Vestavia, Van Road just off Highway 11, and Trustville, coming soon to Highway 280. Listen, you play the courses that you see on TV like you saw this weekend. You play the courses you've always wanted to play. You can have fun games, team games, however you want to do it there at the Golfers. Bring your own food, bring your own drink. You can bring your own clubs. You can have the games on the screens while you're playing the golf on the simulator. It's a great idea to get out of the office for that meeting or that team building exercise as well. You can see more. Get out of the office. Get in the Golfers at thegolfers.com. Book a bay there. Get all the info at thegolfers.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Make Valentine's Day special with our friends at the New York Butcher Shops. Right now, their Valentine's Day special, you get 2 certified Angus prime beef choice fillets, 2 twice-baked potatoes, fresh salad for 2, and yeast rolls. The choice, $59.99. The prime, $74.99. Available for pickup right before Valentine's Day. 2 locations. The New York Butcher Shop, Caba Heights, 205-970-7300. The location in Greystone, Highway 119, 205-703-8825. This Valentine's Day, make it rare quality, well-done service, the New York Butcher Shop.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Before LT tells us about Michelson, we'll look into what I believe is a made-for-television event. I don't remember it ever happening before, but Finland, Sweden, USA, and Canada in hockey, the four nations, and USA and Canada played each other Saturday night in primetime on main ESPN. I assume it's why Alabama and Auburn played a historic 1-2 matchup at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But if you're not paying attention to the U.S.-Canada relationship, Canada has been booing during the NHL and NBA games that have been played in Toronto during the American national anthem. Well, this was the first time in 9 years that the best American hockey players got a chance to play the best Canadian hockey players. They've had matches at the junior level and other levels, but it was the first time in 9 years since the best American hockey players, professionals, were playing the best Canadian hockey player, professionals, the best of the best. And during the pregame, again, in Canada, the Canadians booed the U.S. national anthem. And Matthew and Brady Tkachuk had a plan it was off the booing of the national anthem and just to set the tone for the game in Canada.
National heroes now.
They said right at the beginning, and on the drop of the puck, it was Matthew, I think, Tkachuk, drops the gloves and they go toe to toe. And I mean, nobody else has even touched the puck. Ref drops it, they drop the gloves, and they go fisticuffs. On the face-off afterwards, with 19:57 to play in the first period, there's another fisticuff before you even play another second of hockey. Three fights in the first few seconds of that, and every time the American skates to the penalty box, the other one is there to high-five, hug, and celebrate. Canada scored first, and then the Americans kicked their ass 3-1 in Canada.
Yeah. A big FU to the 51st state, right?
Yeah. It was
America's hat.
Yeah.
America's hat was not feeling it.
That was pretty incredible. Like, I went to lunch with a buddy yesterday, and he is the furthest thing from a hockey guy, and that's all he could talk about.
Yeah.
He was like, this is like the best thing that I've seen since, Miracle on Ice.
Yeah. Well, same sport, same kind of a legion there. And there's still
5.4 million watch. That's a pretty good number for hockey on a Saturday night.
Crazy in that slot there. The Americans now wait in the finals of this made-for-TV event that I'd never heard of until this year.
And nobody cares about the finals, much like the gold medal game.
It could be Canada again.
Then it becomes different.
I'm expecting it to be Canada. America plays Sweden today. And then Canada plays, I think, Finland, and as long as it doesn't end in a tie, the winner of that one will play the Americans for the championship of this made-for-TV thing. But if it's Canada and the U.S. again, I believe that number will go up.
Oh, I do too.
Because now a lot of people...
People are like, damn, I remember this hockey. Yeah. I remember the Hanson brothers back in Slapshot. This is what we're going to get?
Wait, they're going to boo our national anthem, and then we're going to fight them?
Yeah,
okay.
We'll take that.
Okay, I'll tune in to watch that. So we'll let you know when the finals is. It's later this week.
Yeah, I've never seen that ever. 9 seconds in and three.
It was all over social media right after it happened, and I didn't get the context. I'm like, why are they fighting right away? I didn't know about the booing of the Star Spangled Banner.
Apparently, tariffs are still big, right?
Apparently so, yes. I thought tariffs were I thought the Boston Tea Party did away with tariffs. But I'm with you. Like, if they play again, I will absolutely tune in. And you said 5 million people watched on ESPN?
That's
what you said?
5.4 was the number.
That's more than would have watched Alabama and Auburn in prime time. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy more.
1-2, but probably so.
Oh,
I don't know what college basketball gets.
Yeah, there's no probably to it.
The show brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago. If you've been procrastinating, you wear the glasses, you wear the contacts, you're wasting money each and every year. I'm speaking from experience. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. I had the 2200 vision, got the procedure done, only took 12 minutes for both eyes. Now I've got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100, or online, michelsonlaservision.com.
Listen, we're bad about in this state thinking the college basketball world just revolves around our state, and it's the only place that plays college basketball. Not true. They're playing again tonight, Jim. Yeah. We got games tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. It did not stop yesterday.
Yeah.
Saturday.
I know. It did not stop. The world keeps spinning. Sun came up.
That's right. You got Duke tonight on the road at Virginia. That used to be a good game. Not tonight. Duke minus 14 at mybookie.ag.
And by the way, LT brought it up that Janai is still playing for Player of the Year. You've got to consider strength of competition, in my opinion, on what Cooper Flagg is playing and what Janai Broome is playing, in my opinion.
Well, you should, but I go back to a conversation we had with one of the ultimate insiders in Gary Parrish last week, and he said there is something to, and you guys think about this in Heisman perspectives. He didn't bring this up, but we remember that Peyton Manning should have won a Heisman in '97, but voters had an opportunity to do something they had never done, and that was to vote a two-way guy in Charles Woodson in front. So now you have an opportunity to have the youngest ever Wood an award winner.
Yeah, which Gary says that should have absolutely
It
no
should.
impact, but it does. It's
But
just
it
human
will.
nature.
And look,
they're playing nobody.
I know,
I know.
If Cooper,
But they're Duke playing nobody.
If Cooper Flag was playing for Clemson, this wouldn't be a
If
conversation.
it were Clemson playing nobody, he wouldn't have a shot at winning.
Yeah, but because he's in a Duke
that's
jersey,
right.
and they are, look, I mean, this is a team that did knock Auburn off. They're really, really good.
Yeah, they're a good team. Utah, 2.5-point favorite at home tonight over Kansas State. The game of the night might be in Waco. Arizona and Baylor. Is that a 10 o'clock
10
Central
o'clock,
tip?
yeah.
9 p.m. local, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Got a free
it's
lock
10
on that
Eastern,
right now
okay.
at lanceslock.com. I will not make that game.
You're not going to see the end of that. Baylor, a 1-point favorite at home over Arizona. You can play all those games at mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at mybookie.ag. That gets you in the sportsbook bonus area where you get a 50% sportsbook bonus up to $1,000 with code next round. You like the casinos? They got that bonus as well. TNR Casino, your code there at mybookie.ag. When you use code TNR Casino, that gets you the bonus of 300% up to $2,000. Massive bonuses at mybookie.ag. Code next round and code TNR Casino. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag.
Back to the Auburn win over Alabama with Seth Greenberg coming up at the top of the hour. Can you guys, I'll even give you the picture. Can you guys name me the Notre Dame head basketball coach, men's head basketball?
Shrewsbury. Micah? Is it Micah Shrewsbury?
It is definitely Shrewsbury. I think it's Micah.
It is Michael Shrewsbury. Very good, Brownie.
Thank you.
I would have never known his name.
We're a basketball state, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Digger Phelps to me at Notre Dame.
Hey, Mike Bray had a good run.
He really did. The record and the importance, the lack of importance of Notre Dame basketball now will likely be the reason why Micah Shrewsbury isn't retained as the coach someday. But can you act a certain way that doesn't reflect your school's image in a post-game news conference that could get you to the curb faster? Here is Micah Shrewsbury about his fans not being in the stands and another loss for his Fighting Irish, and you tell me if this is the reflection Notre Dame perceived to want to put out there.
But don't give up on these kids, because we're going to get this thing rolling. Because I sat there and watched more Louisville fans in here than Notre Dame people, and that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing for me, because I'm the head coach here. And yes, I got us in this predicament. But don't come back when we're losing or when we're winning, because we're turning this around, man. You better believe that. Everybody that gave up on me, believe it. Write this date down and believe it, because we're going to get this thing rolling. I don't care if you gave up on me.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's
embarrassing.
And he couldn't even get the throw. Don't come back when we're losing. Winning. I mean, he couldn't even get his own rant.
Yeah,
right?
that was our John McCain open one.
Yeah, but the microphone hit at the end.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Fake outrage there.
Yeah.
And they got some cheap ass chairs there too.
I
It
know.
looks like.
It looks like they stole their chairs from a Quincy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
That's a bad look.
I don't want to hear that kind of crap when you're, win me
And
some
by
games.
the way, Notre Dame is one of those programs I believe, much like football, should be really good at basketball.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen them really good at basketball.
I know it's a football school, but it seems like it'd be easier for them to be good at basketball.
I would agree. Yeah. And there's no way. I mean, they're 11-14. That's embarrassing.
I mean, how many good Catholic high school basketball teams in your lifetime do you see from, Catholic high schools around America? It seems like they always were playing in, whether I was in Lexington or Lexington Catholic, or when I'm in Birmingham with just
John Carroll.
They
had a good run.
Really good back in the day. Montgomery Catholic. I mean, there just was a lot of good Catholic schools that were always really good at basketball.
I don't assume that those players are playing there because they're Catholic by faith. I assume those players are playing there because they're really good basketball
Now, are
players.
you guys not concerned? Because I don't think, at the end of the day, at your core, you really give a shit. But it's very interesting that some of these ACC programs are where they are right now. Like, you just look at North Carolina, and I think they've got a decision coming up. I think Hubert probably will stay, but I'm not positive. But where they're struggling right now, Georgia Tech has just never really been the same. I don't get it. Florida State should be better than they are. Pittsburgh was completely dominant under Jamie Dixon for a while. They couldn't do anything in the tournament. Virginia, you mentioned, it's been a long time since Tony Bennett had it going. Notre Dame, Syracuse, NC State. These are all, and Larinaga leaves Miami, and by the way, they're 2-12 in conference.
Yeah. But those are, to your point, those are names that are, if they're on your pre-conference basketball schedule coming to your town, you're like, I'm going to that game because here comes a basketball team, a name brand basketball team to play my school in town. And they're not that anymore.
No. You've seen most of those teams I mentioned in Final Fours at some point, a lot in Elite Eights, and just good consensus top 25 brands. And, boy, that conference has really fallen.
I wonder how much of it is in this NIL era. Like, a lot of people are painting maybe the SEC's days are done because the Big Ten can have so much NIL money to fill out a football roster. I wonder how much of that is impacting the ACC basketball rosters. Now that the SEC and others can.
That's a scary thing if it is. Like, it's obviously not affecting Duke, but I think, of course I say this, and now the reports are that Darian Mensah got, $4 million, $8 million, whatever, for a couple of years.
$4 million for 2 years.
I just have a hard time believing
Yeah,
this.
like if I'm John Shire and Duke, I want to protect whatever we got to protect. If we suck in football, people got used to that. Let's get basketball back. But for North Carolina, it could be a real thing. Notre Dame, it could be a real thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like Vanderbilt, a great football year. Their basketball team is heading to the NCAA tournament most likely. It seems like it'd be easier for them to be a basketball school.
Yeah,
than
and
it is football.
Syracuse right now, like Fran Brown, like it's exciting. Year one, you win, 10 games. But your basketball team's 11-15 after having such a proud run under Boeheim. Would you rather have your basketball where it was, or would you rather have football creep up to where they're competitive, but your basketball goes to hell?
You are a national contender in basketball. You're having good seasons going to the Pinstripe Bowl in football.
I would rather have my basketball. I really would.
I'm with you. Yeah,
give me what I was good at.
I know where the money is, but give me where I'm winning.
Yeah, give me what I was a national power at. I'll get used to that. Give me cut 9. Some SEC outcomes for you. Florida gets Micah Handlockton back. He was coming back earlier. They said no, he wasn't coming back and was going to rest the rest of the year. Now with Alex Condon out until March, he'll be back in March according to the folks at Florida. Handlockton comes in, plays 20 minutes, only scores 2 points, but Florida gets the easy win over the weekend. Mississippi State goes on the road and beats Ole Miss, wins the series, sweeps the series. Easy 10-point win in Oxford this weekend. Texas goes on a big run late and beats Lamont Butler-less Kentucky. Big win for Texas. That's a quad 1 win for them. Missouri, likely to move up into the top 16 with a Kansas loss. They host Alabama, got a win over Georgia. Tennessee had a big win with Zakai Ziegler, scoring 22 in the second half as they held off Vandy 81-76.
Weird game, by the way.
It was Ziegler had none in the first.
I know.
22 in the
I
second.
laid the points with Tennessee, and boy, they were getting dominated.
Yeah, I mean, they were in a deep hole against Vandy. I was thinking, my gosh, this Tennessee team is completely unreliable.
And Vandy's going to win the series?
I know. I was just thinking, as soon as you start buying into this Tennessee team, they're completely unreliable.
And then Texas A&M, number 8 at home, goes on a 9-0 run to win by 8 and beat Arkansas 69-61.
Tough loss for Cal.
And here's Calipari after that tough loss.
Normally, you say you are what your record says you are. But in this league, the way this is, you just got to get it going at the right time. And I thought we did. And Alabama's, they're really good too. This team is really good. Guess what? We had a chance at both of them, but we didn't. And for us to bust through, we're going to have to beat somebody. We can say what we want. Like, I wanted to make sure they weren't happy we're going to be okay. No. If we won that game, say it, we're in the tournament. If we won that game, we're in the tournament. So it's not okay to say we'll be all right. Now you're going to have to go get somebody else.
Yeah, it's not all right. Arkansas close there, did not get the big win. 2 more things before the top of the hour. After we tell you our friends at Hemphill. Bring you the lock every day. Brownie gave you, LT, some of the games tonight. You'll have them at lanceslock.com.
Yeah, 4 plays up and available right now. Rough weekend, so we bounce back, clean slate. Start this Monday out. 4 winners in college basketball. Free play up right now in that Arizona-Baylor game. Jump on board. Win with us at lanceslock.com. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Any of those arise in your home or business, our friends at Hemphill ready to serve you. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. It's a planforme.com, a planforme.com. They'll help you jumpstart that weight loss as we get ready for the beach and the lake and all the great fun you're going to have in the summer. We'll have a really good time this year as you drop a few pounds and get ready to enjoy the beaches. Down on the Gulf or at the lake or wherever you want to go this summer. Leslie and her board-certified team will take care of you with no contracts, and you get that free consultation. It's all right there. Meal replacement, injection therapy, and everything else. It's Way to Wellness, a planforme.com, your journey to healthy living. A couple of bad losses this weekend. One of them was Kansas. More on that top 16 from the selection committee coming up. They lost to Utah. They're likely going to fall out. Missouri likely going to go in. And then there was this guy, Dan Hurley. Last we saw walking off the court in Omaha. Hey, bye.
That's right.
Bye.
How many rings you got, Dan?
I got 2 rings.
Oh.
All he did was get a quad 3 loss to Seton Hall, 69-68 after that. What'd you think?
Look, I mean, UConn, just when it looked like maybe they were going to turn the corner a little bit, they're now 5 losses in the Big East.
Yeah, and falling on that 7-10, 8-9 line on all the bracketology, pain in the butt for somebody who's a 1 or 2 seed.
Somebody gets to see them.
All right. When we come back, Seth Greenberg talks to us about what he saw in person with Auburn and Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That's next on the next round.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round. Think about the best summer nights of your life. How many of those were in a great t-shirt? Visit nextround.store to get the perfect t-shirt for the next perfect Southern night. Nextround.store. The memories are waiting.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Alabama, join us over on covercrimson.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on covercrimson.com.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
Make Valentine's Day special with our friends at the New York Butcher Shops. Right now, their Valentine's Day special, you get 2 certified Angus prime beef choice fillets, 2 twice-baked potatoes, fresh salad for 2, and yeast rolls. The choice, $59.99. The prime, $74.99. Available for pickup right before Valentine's Day. 2 locations. The New York Butcher Shop, Cahaba Heights, 205-970-7300. The location in Greystone, Highway 119, 205-703-8825. This Valentine's Day, make it rare quality, well-done service. The New York Butcher Shop.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, hour number 2, Seth Greenberg coming up here in just a second. The show being brought to you by our friends at Image Craft, a great company here that, listen, if you print things,
right,
a lot of them,
hardcore paper,
yeah, you need these folks.
Well, and you guys don't realize that one of the things that I did when I got back, my gap job between getting back from Los Angeles and radio was delivering toner cartridges.
Right.
Yeah. And I had a wreck on my birthday delivering some to this building. Back in 1990.
This building?
Yeah, 1997.
Was that when this was the IBM building? Because this building used to be owned by IBM.
Yeah. March 31st, 1997, I had a wreck in this parking lot.
This building wasn't built in the 20s? 2020? Somewhere around there?
No. When you say the 20s.
You think those elevators were made this decade?
Yeah, it just seems so cool.
All right, Seth Greenberg coming up. Image Craft is where you print more, you spend less. They are in Birmingham right here with all the major brands, HP, Brother, Cannondale, Lexmark, Konica, Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. They will deliver anything in stock at the Birmingham Metro. They will ship free outside the area. Anybody like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, schools, pharmacies that print a lot, that's what you need Image Craft for. Go to their website, imagecraft.net. 10% off there with code TNR at imagecraft.net, TNR10. And then in the store as well, they'll give you 10% off when you mention the next round. Seth Greenberg is one of the greats there at ESPN. On game day, ESPN basketball analyst, was obviously in Tuscaloosa Saturday. He's with us now. Welcome in, Seth. Hope you're doing well today.
Doing great, guys. How you guys doing? If you're a Bama fan, not so good. If you're a Auburn fan, pretty good. So I guess that's kind of how it works in that state.
That's kind of, we've seen that often in football. It's normally not that big in basketball. I want to start there because you coach for a long time. You've been in the media now for a while. You know what's a good job and a bad job. Alabama has been at times a good job. Auburn has been the worst job in the SEC at times. To see both those programs, though, ascend to 1 and 2, just to step back and look at it from the distance has to be just amazing at what Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates have done with these two programs.
Yeah, they've both done an incredible job. So look, both schools has tradition. You think of what Sonny Smith did and the success that he had at Auburn, or even Cliff Ellis. You think about obviously what Wimp Sanderson did at Alabama and the great C.M. Newton. They've all had success, not to this extent and not to this sustained success. They came at a good time. Bruce Pearl came into the league at a time where the league was going to make a commitment to basketball. He would have taken the job unless they made a commitment to basketball and given him the resources. Now, what he's done with those resources has been mind-blowing because his ability to evaluate players up, to his ability to put in a system that fits his players, his ability to get his guys to buy in and play hard. You don't go to the Final Four with the team he went to the Final Four with without being a master evaluator and coach. And the same thing with Nate. I always say your investment equals your expectation. And both schools made great investments by hiring great coaches, giving them infrastructure, and giving them the resources. And they've taken those things, like the rest of the SEC, it seems like it's taken, and built some of the best programs in the country. So it's hire the right coach, give them the resources, and let them do their thing. And both schools have done it at the very highest level.
Normally, you score 85 points on your home court, you're in pretty good shape. But Alabama scores 85, they lose by 9. Auburn led or controlled the entire game. They held Alabama to 38% from the field. How impressed are you with this Auburn defense?
That's what it was all about to me. This game was all about Auburn's defensive game plan. Bruce Pearl, it's exactly what I said in our game day show. I said, you got to be able to guard your yard, and you can't help off. And what I mean by that is, if you can guard the basketball and then run those three-point shooters off, you're forcing Alabama to shoot tough, contested twos. And they were not going to beat you with tough, contested twos. They did a great job defending the three-point line because they didn't leave three-point shooters. Dribble handoffs, they blew them up. Ball screens, they blew them up. They fought over the top. They forced non-shooters to become shooters, but they took away the three ball. Now, a lot had to do with the size of Auburn, their size, their length, their athleticism at the guard position. Compare that to, Holloway and Sears and the perimeter players for Alabama. Look at the size, excluding Todd Padford. Those are big, long, athletic guys that could blow up those type of screens. And then you're making them score two-pointers over people. But and then starting the game, I'm sure you guys watched the game or were at the game. Auburn started the game inside, outside. First 5 possessions, Janai Broome touched the ball. He touched the ball. Now, he made a 3, but he got 2 back down. He had a kick out for a 3 for Kelly. And what happens? If you run good offense, you set your defense. If you set your defense, you take away those transition threes. If you set your defense, you're not in rotation, so now they're not paint touch, kick, drive again, kick, wide open threes. So the defensive game plan that Auburn had was absolutely terrific, and it had an impact on the game. Even though Alabama scored 85 points, it had an impact on the game.
You said not such a good day if you're an Alabama fan. Reacting to that game, it's been hard to get over for Alabama fans. But the game seemed to be more about just how great Auburn was. Where is Alabama in your eyes now? Because they've got a tough slate ahead. Oof. You've coached in this. How do you pick up after that hyped of a game and move forward?
It's in the league. Next play, man. I mean, like you got the next. Well, they got the next play. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, as a coach, and I think they set them up in terms of what he did pregame, in terms of talking about, it was a big game. It was 1 versus 2. It was everything that it was made up to be. But you've got to approach every single game in that league with the schedule they have left. And he said it on our game day show. He said, look at the rest of the schedule. I mean, we got a big one here, but look at the rest of the schedule. There's no rocking chair games in that league. So you got to look at it. You got to, look, people are going to look at that Auburn game and say, can we do the same thing defensively that they did? Now, not everyone has the personnel that Auburn has, but I mean, that's a little bit of a game plan for how you'd like to play against them. Look, I think Alabama's the Final Four team. Now, you got to get the right draw. But, Nate will take that and learn from it. The team will learn from it. I thought that early on they took some bad contested threes. They weren't as tough as they needed to be defensively. They just weren't as tough as they needed to be defensively. And, Amori, he can give rim protection, but they couldn't guard Broome on the block one-on-one. Diabate tried to use his quickness against them. Worked a little bit. To me, it's what's our rotation going to be and how are we going to play? Youngblood's big enough, physical enough to guard. They play the 2 little guards together in a game like that probably was really, really hard. So, I mean, you're going to look at it. Look, Nate's a really smart guy. He's going to look at the numbers, but he's also going to look at the flow of the game. And what did they try to give and what did they try to take away versus what Auburn tried to give and take away? Because that's what a chess match is in coaching. You got to decide what you're going to give and what you're going to take away. All right. Bruce said, we're going to get contested 2s. We're going to take away the 3. All right. At first they were going to guard Broome one-on-one and they want to scrape down. They want to just help down a little bit. So look, you play in a good league, you lose games. I mean, Connecticut lost to Seton Hall the other day. Kansas lost at Utah. Obviously, it's not 1 versus 2, but, good teams are going to lose games. And you just got to get to the next play, man, because in that league, if you have a hangover, It's going to kick your ass.
ESPN Seth Greenberg with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Is there a team you've seen, and I'm not saying they can beat Auburn in a tournament, but did you see them and you're like, that's the makeup of a team that could beat Auburn? Is there a quality team you've seen that's got that makeup?
I mean, Duke could beat Auburn. Florida could beat Auburn. I mean, there are teams on a given night. First thing you got to do is you got to match their edge. I mean, it sounds silly. I call Auburn functionally dysfunctional. I mean, they could have a blow up on their bench, guys screaming at each other, Bruce going after a guy. They come back and they just play. Yeah, I mean, they took a plane. They had to turn around, come back, get back on the plane, and they just play.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of Bruce. Bruce's ability to manage his team and keep them in the moment and deal with some of the distractions is what his magic is all about. But, yeah, I mean, look, is Auburn beatable? Yeah, they're beatable. But you better be really good because they can beat in transition. They can beat in a half court. They can beat in the paint. They can beat you shooting the threes. They can beat you with a defensive game plan. They've got a lot of different ways to beat you. And that's what makes it really hard, man. I mean, like, all right, what are we going to give? What are we going to take away? Well, we're going to take away the paint. All right, we're going to take away the paint. Then you know what? Then they're going to knock down some threes. And then they have that, I call them, they have Geraldo Chapman coming off the bench and Tahad Pettiford. All of a sudden he comes in, broken play, and he goes boop, 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 pulls up, step back, bam, knocks down a three. I mean, so they have depth, they've got versatility, and they got to change the speed pitch. And that's Pettiford. So, I mean, you're going to have to play really well to beat them. And I do think that and I joke about functionally dysfunctional, I'm not saying it in a negative way. I actually think that helps them. That gives them that little bit of an edge that, like, they're edgy, but they back it up because of how they play. So it's kind of a good mix.
So coming into that game, Alabama was 333rd in turnover margin. We talked about it on the show. It's just part of their DNA. I didn't think that they could get that out of their system. They only turned it over 7 times. Yep. But again, they got pretty much dominated wire to wire. And we talked about this before you came on, Coach. Is it maybe Alabama was running their offense a little bit too differently? They were maybe overthinking the turnovers?
No, and weren't as aggressive as they normally would be. Yeah. I mean, look, turnovers are an issue. You know, Nate mentioned it on our game day show, watching practice the day before. I mean, he must have mentioned it 8,000 times. Like, turnovers for touchdowns, you got to take away. That's just decisions. Like, when you make a play, it's advantage, disadvantage, and then you got to read it. You know, the foolish, unforced turnovers get your ass beat. They get your ass beat. Trying to make plays that aren't there, as long as it's to make a play for someone else, that's a good thing. If it's to make a play for yourself, so you're driving into a crowd and you're keeping your dribble alive and you're kicking it off your leg or whatever, that's another thing. So, look, big picture, you got to take care of the ball because turnover is going to get you beat in the NCAA tournament.
Well,
because you got to set your defense.
You saw Janai looked like he re-aggravated that ankle again. In this situation, with it appears Auburn has according to the committee, a gap from number 1 overall seed to the second number 1 seed. Do you ever consider resting Janai Broome in any of these games here? How would you approach that?
I'd sit and talk to the medical staff and let them make the decision. That's a medical staff decision. That's not a Bruce Pearl decision. It's a Janai and the medical staff. I mean, depending on how it is. I mean, like that game they played against Tennessee at Auburn. Now, we're watching him warm up, and we're going, there is no way this dude is playing.
Right.
He's limping around his leg. There's no way this dude is playing. And then, like, he plays, and not only does he play, you know, kind of limping around on one leg, the dude is playing good. And, like, they winning plays and blocking shots and scoring. I mean, like, so you got to leave that up. Again, my experiences, that medical staff and Janai. Now, if you just think, you know what, we can deal with this. It's a home game or it's a road game or whatever, because they won the games without him.
Yep.
I mean, that's the amazing thing. Like, the two teams to me that have really impressed me this year, Florida winning without Condon and winning without Elijah Martin. That's hard to do. Auburn winning without Janai Broome and having different guys step up. That's hard to do. That shows the depth of your team. But that decision is, I think it's out of Bruce's hands. And Bruce like the way he is, it's all right. So these are the guys we have to play. You know, we want Janai ready for the end of the season. So I don't know how bad he tweaked it. I've been called a lot of things. Doctor is not one of them.
Hey, I had the pleasure to sit and watch your 2-hour game day show from Tuscaloosa. The staff is amazing, all the people behind the scenes and everything. Which is either more frustrating or more impressive to you, watching Jay Will in front of those students get out there and drain those half-court shots, or watch Reese Davis without a teleprompter lead into a package like the Aiden Holloway story? I'm an old local TV guy. I was looking for the freaking teleprompter, and I was like, what a freaking monster he is to hit that lay-in like that. Which one impresses you the most?
Jay Will, he would say he was 2-time player of the year, so I mean that's just what he does. Reese Davis is a freak. I mean, you understand it. I mean, like he's got these little note cards, and he's got like little bull points on them, and he does a 2-hour show. He does the open. Now he writes out his open, but he never looks at it when he does it. Like, he's a freak. I mean, like, his ability to navigate the football college game day show with all the moving pieces that has is unbelievable. He makes, it's like a really good player makes the hard things look easy. Like, Reese Davis makes this shit look easy. Yeah. That's just the way it is. I mean, he does. He's brilliant. Jay Will's that one that, like, I think he's done 3 times in a row, but as soon as that thing the two-hander, I don't get, by the way. But as soon as it left his hand, I turned to someone I said, that's it. Yeah. And then what the crazy thing is, people don't even react. If you think the crowd was bad at Alabama when he made it, he knocked one in at Iowa State. All right. And there was no reaction. Like, the dude just made a half-court shot. People would be running around doing airplanes. And he just made a half-court shot and says, okay. I do. But Reese's stuff is sick. Yeah. It really, I think, and when he does the open, and he didn't do it in Alabama, but sometimes he'll get all wind up and he'll get out of his chair, and it'll kind of wrap it to the. I mean, that's like the highlight of the show for me. I mean, our show's interesting because we all look through the game through a different prism. Jay Will as a player, Andre obviously as someone that's covered the sport and a player, but in a different game. It's a totally different game. And then Billis, he states his opinion like it's a fact, which is really annoying. And then me, I just go back to 33 years of coaching, and it pisses them off because, like, they'll say, "Well, only coaches understand that." Quite honestly, yes, some of this stuff only coaches do understand. Yeah. That's the way it is. When you lived it for that long, it was like, when I got the funniest thing was when I got Jay Will up talking about guarding your yard and ball screen, and Billis was the screener. Because you got to understand, Billis was a 1,000-point scorer too, but his job was basically to screen for Allery and Johnny Dawkins. So basically, we put Billis in his best role. He would not agree with that, but we put him in his best role.
Just like Kate did back in the day, yeah.
Exactly.
Coach Seth Greenberg at Seth on Hoops is where you follow him on social media. You see him on ESPN throughout the season. Thank you very much for the time, Coach. Very kind of you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it for having me.
All right, take care. That is Seth Greenberg with us, fresh off his visit to Tuscaloosa for game day. He was on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
You guys know I worry about everything. So I'm sitting there at that game day, and I'm watching the clock. Because the one at Auburn Taylor had gone to was 1 hour long. So I'm watching the clock, and they tossed a break. And just like I do here, I'm looking, and I'm like, they just tossed a break, and it's 57.
How will they get it all
They're not going to get back and be able to make their picks in time. And it was a 2-hour show. Not a 1 hour
thought it was
show.
1 hour, yeah.
Yeah.
So you lost track.
And then I had to sit down for another hour watching the show.
Well, ESPN, I mean, I feel bad for the Syracuse, North Carolina fans. Did you see how much time was left of the first half when they joined after Bama-Auburn?
No. But how long was the Alabama-Auburn game? It felt like it was about almost 3 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't 3 hours.
Well, they pushed back to, 15 minutes?
Yeah, it didn't start till 3:15.
Yeah.
There was 4.2 seconds to go in the first half when they joined Syracuse and North Carolina after that game. Because they had to push Bama back because who's Houston playing right before?
Arizona?
Yeah, Houston, Arizona went long.
Yep.
So they pushed Bama back to 3:15, and I guess they didn't push North Carolina and Syracuse back. I guess they're just like their fans will deal with it.
That's ACC. What do they know about basketball?
They'll find ESPN News somehow. But ESPN refuses to accept that a college basketball game no longer lasts 2 hours. Maybe they did back in the day, but they don't when we're at the monitor. I had to tell my wife that. So she's not watched a basketball game all year. And to me, I mean, this is, super local here, but it tells you how big a game this was. Like, I played golf Saturday morning. Everybody at the golf course, everybody on the driving range before, when we're out, when we're in the bar afterwards, everybody's talking about this game. Everybody. Like, hey, let's go. I got to get back home and get the game.
I was talking to a buddy Saturday morning, and he had gone to a local breakfast joint. He was like, man, it was really packed at 7 o'clock. And I was like, probably because people were getting ready to go to Tuscaloosa. I was like, how much gear did you say? And he was like, it was everywhere.
Yeah, everybody's talking about this game. My wife was like, hey, I'm going to watch the game. We watch upstairs, downstairs. I'm like, holy crap. My wife hasn't watched college basketball. They'll be on, but she's not paying attention. She watched every minute of it.
I texted Maggie at halftime. I was like, hey, I'm probably not going to go out for drinks now because it looks like Alabama's about to get it handed to them. and she's like, oh, it's still the second half. They can come back. And I was like, are you watching?
Yeah.
And but she's like, yes.
I told my wife, because at first I had to explain to her why they called a goaltend, and Billis is saying they call it that so they can go back and review. She's like, well, they never reviewed it. I said, they'll do that in the next timeout. She goes, they're just going to adjust the score in a timeout? I was like, that's exactly what they're going to do. Yeah, they're going to come back from the break. Because once they show the replay, it was obviously not a goaltend. So they're going to come back from the break and tell you it's not 14-6, it's 14-8. And they did. And she's like, wow. But when we got to the end of the game, I was like, okay, something I need to prepare you for. I said, college basketball spends an inordinate amount of time looking at replays in the last 2 minutes of the game. And about the third or fourth time, she's like, God, you did not warn me enough about this.
They apparently wasn't that one, the first 14-8. The next time out, we adjusted the score again. I can't remember if they added 2 points or took 2 points away in the next one because it wasn't a three-pointer or a one-pointer. So we either added a point or took a point away in that one in back-to-back commercial breaks. I was like, man, we can't get the score right going to break because I'm writing my notes down. Under 16 timeout, it's this score. And then I have to go back and scratch it out because they changed the score. But the one I'd never heard of, and I don't know if you ever got an explanation on this on TV, but there was eventually they went to timeout and looked for like a contact to the face, and they came back out and said on the system there, they were like, it had timed out too long for us to go back and review it.
But in review, that was just, he cleared up. In review, there was nothing there, but we were outside the review window, which I didn't know there was a review window.
I didn't either. And I was wondering if they explained it. I thought maybe it was just the technology, almost like that DVR Sport, the people that provide the court. I didn't know if it was like the old TiVo, and they could only go back so many minutes. We haven't saved it since the 14-minute mark. We can't go back to that anymore, so we can't rewind that part back.
Great. Remember the Grim Reaper would show up at the door on the old TiVo?
Time's up.
The guy would run to church, pray, come back, push play.
What if he said, my wife deleted the recording, so we couldn't review the play?
That's what I thought it was. I thought it's too far back for us to go. And I was like, they can't rewind the TiVo far enough back to review it?
Billis said at the end of the game, and it got so bad. I warned my wife, and this is how bad it was. And Billis is like, we got to go to the NBA system where each coach gets a challenge. And if you get it right, you get the next challenge, and that's the end of it. But
too much stoppage.
Too much stoppage. It just, look, Auburn's going to win that game either way, but there was, at least in the last 2 minutes, there's a little buzz in the game.
What did you feel like? We talked about these big hyped up matchups, and typically on campus in Tuscaloosa, the football games have lived up to the hype. But this game, like a 1 out of 10, 10 being the best.
It had some entertaining moments. Alabama played super tight, and Auburn played super loose. It doesn't, it's 9-0 right out of the chute. I would probably, just the overall game, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10.
That's what I was going to say, 6.
That's what you said, 6?
Yep.
6 for me as well.
I mean, when one team leads throughout, you had 0 lead changes.
It was 39 minutes. Auburn led. 1 minute of it was tied. Alabama had led for 0 minutes. They made it close a couple of times, and the place was juiced, but Auburn kept draining the air out of the place by going on 7, 8, 9-0 runs after Alabama would cut it to one possession. So, but when I actually in my head thought when Sears hit that 1-3 to make it 63-60.
Was that the one he shot from basically Northport? It was like 26 feet or something like that?
Then Auburn made it 65-60. Then Alabama hit a 3 to make it 65-63.
I think it was Youngblood, if I'm not mistaken,
And then Auburn missed, come down, put in 65-65. I said, man, Alabama's played like crap. And here we are. I wrote it down. It's like 7 minutes, 43 seconds left. It's 65-65.
Yep.
And
you got Broom hobbled, Cardwell and Chad Baker-Mazar in foul trouble. Chad Baker-Mazar, I don't know if you saw this. When he went to the bench, he's hurt. Like he's grabbing his hip.
It's bonkers in there. It's 65-65, and I can't even get out of my mouth like Alabama can still. And Pettiford hits the three. I mean, it was that
I
quick.
think if Sears would have hit the three that he missed after making that three, it might have been a different game.
They would have had to rebuild a new arena. The roof would have been off.
That would have been a dream come true.
It would have been a dream come true.
At that
Insurance
moment,
money.
he was feeling it. I thought he was going to hit that shot, and I do think the momentum completely switches if he hits that shot.
Well, because you've got a missed three, and then shortly after you've got Pettiford making the three, which was probably the dagger.
And you kind of felt like if Alabama ever got that lead with the crowd behind it, it was going to be a little different.
Yeah, Auburn fans of the chat are saying 10 out of 10. Alabama fans probably think it's a 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just from a neutral observer, I would give it a 6 out of 10.
Hey, that's what I said last week about the Super Bowl. Like, I love the fact that I had Philadelphia, but if you didn't have a dog in the fight in the Super Bowl, that was a bad game.
But if you were an Eagles fan, you loved it.
That was a 10 out of 10.
10
if you
out
were
of 10.
a Chiefs fan, a 1 out of 10.
Yeah. I thought it was a 6 out of 10, and it was, because Auburn dominated it.
I wanted to see back and forth. I wanted to see it 65-63 Bama, 68-65 Auburn, 70-68 Bama.
What it was for that 1 minute of the game
I wanted 40 minutes of that. I don't ask for much. I wanted 40 minutes of that.
There were no lead changes.
I know.
Zero.
So it's hard to say it was a great game. It's a historic win for Auburn.
But you come out to start the second half and you think to yourself, okay, let's see if Alabama can get going. What happens? Denver Jones hits 3 threes out of the locker room.
Yeah,
he comes out.
That was insane.
Boom,
how they
boom,
started.
boom.
Basically, how they started the game in the half was just crazy.
It's like,
I mean, it's really the difference when you think about it. When you jump out 9-0, Alabama was never able to overcome that. And then basically you jump out 9-0 again right out of the locker room.
You come out of the locker room and you think, okay, see what Alabama adjusted at the half here, and it's like Denver, 3 more threes, and you're like,
they didn't adjust.
Well, there you go, man.
Yes.
Wow. All right, show being brought to you by a couple of great folks. One of them is our friends at New York Butcher Shop, and then we'll get to the football spotlight
Man,
today.
good steaks for Valentine's.
I felt guilty. I went in there and didn't pre-order and just picked up a couple of fillets. They were absolutely slammed on Valentine's Day, but I cooked the fillets at the house. Fantastic.
Ran into a guy at the Greystone location. I'm walking out with my steaks Friday for Valentine's. Run into a guy who goes, "Hey, Brownie."
Was this Fly?
I've
got this.
Did he send you something on social media?
I'm gonna. You finish your story.
He said, "Y'all are the reason I'm here. I've never visited New York Butcher Shop till today." And I was like, "Well, Jim's gonna take good care of you." I think it was Fly. Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, "Hey, went by today for the first time. Ran into Brown there. Got a couple of fillets for Valentine's. Steak, potatoes are unreal.
Yep.
Definitely be going back. Met Jim. Great dude.
Nice as they come."
Ryan made me tell him TNR sent him. Love the show. Thanks for what you guys do, and I will definitely be going back to the New York Butcher Shop.
Make sure you tell Jim you're here because of us.
Fantastic place. Look, one-stop shop for dinner, from the fresh meat, specialty items. You can stop in, get the huge deli sandwiches for lunch or dinner. Fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. Rare quality, well-done service. 2 locations, Cabo Heights, Highway 119. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
The College Football Spotlight.
Presented each day by McCurry Car, Van, and Truck Rental. They got the local vehicles that's difficult to find. The SUVs, the passenger vans, delivery trucks. They make it easy to rent, too. In and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest of Coleman, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve that rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
For the most part, all the new coaching football salaries have been reset. We've gone through the new contract cycle. 24/7 have the 10 highest paid coaches in college football going into next year. I'll start at 10 and work our way up. At number 10, just give me a guess of which SEC coach you think's in at number 10.
Brian Kelly.
This is in the nation, but the 10th highest paid coach in college football is an SEC coach.
I think Lance probably has a pretty good call there with Brian Kelly.
I'll go Brian Kelly or Lane Kiffin.
It is Mark Stoops.
Yeah, well, that's a waste of money right there.
And at number 9,
that's
Brian.
so overrated.
Yeah, look, Brown got this right this year.
He's
I
overrated.
do think going into this year, he had done a really good job this year. I think everything has changed in college football now just based on success of teams like Indiana and Arizona State.
Brian Kelly is number 9, and then you have a big tie for 6th at that point. So 10 is Stoops, 9 is Brian Kelly. Tied for 6, you have Kalen DeBoer. You have Mike Norvell. You have Bill Belichick on that line. And that's the ones that are tied for 6. So Belichick jumps in with Norvell and Kalen DeBoer.
Okay, of those 3, you would want Kalen DeBoer, though, right? You don't want Norvell.
I
you don't want Belichick.
And I don't want Belichick.
No,
yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Number 5 on the list is Lincoln Riley of USC. Number 4 on the list is Steve Sarkisian. Number 3 on the list is Dabo Swinney. I had a dream about Dabo last night.
Did you?
That Kirby Smart.
Do you guys go to Sweet Frog together?
No, Kirby Smart. That's a great pull by you. That was years ago. We hung out at Sweet Frog.
Who, you and Dabo?
Yeah.
Y'all were in Sweet Frog together?
He took, I forget the relationship with the kids. He was back in Pelham, and we were at Sweet Frogs over
by us?
Over near our house.
I was there and saw him with a bunch of kids. I didn't see you.
Yeah,
This is you embellishing your story.
No, absolutely. I swear. Dabo and I sit out and talked.
I saw him there, and he was talking to a kid who had lost his father.
I was there.
There's no way we were both at Sweet Frog.
Well, it sounds like it.
I wonder if we missed on the same day. We saw the same day, or he was there twice. Dabo Swinney is 3rd on the list, but in my dream,
what toppings does Dabo get?
Yeah, I am curious about that.
already out.
Gummy bears and marshmallows, Tyler.
Yeah, I
Very
feel like
weird.
it's like marshmallows and jelly beans.
Yeah, that sounds very Dabo.
He was already sitting outside on those Adirondack chairs when I got there.
Yeah.
And talked to him before I went in to get my ice cream.
I tell you what, that pineapple that they got there, and I put some strawberries and caramel on it. That is dang good.
I like the sorbets. I really do.
Yeah,
they had the what was the white, just the basic, but it was kind of tart. I guess it was tart.
It was called tart.
Yeah, that with one of the sorbets.
Number 3 is Dabo. In the dream, Kirby had left Georgia and retired, and Dabo got that job. In my dream, we were doing the reaction. We were like, well, I guess we can reset Dabo now on him having a chance to win another national championship now that he's at Georgia.
You're not going to give me James Franklin's number 2.
Number 2 is Ryan Day, and number 1 is Kirby Smart.
Okay. So Franklin and Marcus Freeman are in the top 10.
In the top 10.
That's surprising with Franklin.
Yeah.
Very
now,
surprising.
Freeman's new deal may get him up there. And they're private, so I don't know if all the details are out yet.
Franklin's
This
new
is
deal
the
too.
latest from 24/7 after it's been reset. But
sometimes on those private schools, they have to wait for the tax returns to see what a coach is making.
that is surprising. Franklin is not in the top 11 there.
Well, and if I'm hype, I'm like, I got to a college football playoff. I beat Alabama this year.
That's
I
right.
beat them 2 of the last 3 years. Where's my money?
And if I'm Rhett Lashley, I'm like, hey, we got all the money in the world. Let's get me up there. It'll help recruiting. I'd always sell it as helping recruiting. That's our McCurry Spotlight. Tell us about McCurry.
McCurryRentals.com. That's where you start to find those hard-to-find rentals. McCurryRentals.com.
When we come back, we will do 4 downs today. LT has that ready for us. And a lot more reaction to Alabama dropping the 1-2 matchup in Tuscaloosa. What's ahead for the Tide? And more from Bruce Pearl on their defense. Andy Kennedy and UAB with a big win as well in the Bartow Classic. All that still to come right here on the Next Round.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings, or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money. If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Our look at the selection committees, the top 16, brought to you today by our friends at Hemp Hill, hot or cold, and boy, the weather gives you
never know
all the roller coaster the last couple of weeks. Also plumbing as well. Hemp Hill takes care of you.
Yeah, trust the name Birmingham's trust since 1954. Hard to stop a train. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the Next Round sent you. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Okay, so the selection committee, the head of that committee, who has been on the committee for 5 years, and he talked about Auburn having the biggest gap, and this was before the Auburn-Alabama game, having the biggest gap that he had seen with all the metrics and everything that since in his 5 years on the committee. So there's Auburn and a gap before you got to Alabama, who was the second highest seeded team in the bracket. Here's how it looked by the committee. So in the South is where Auburn would be placed, which would have them going to Atlanta to get to the Final Four. Auburn was the 1. Alabama was the second best 1 seed. Duke was the third best 1 seed. And Florida was the 4th best 1 seed. And then you cycle around, and Houston would have been 5. And then you go, Tennessee was 6, Purdue was 7, and then A&M was 8. And that's how you do it, the loop back and forth, the snake, if you will. And those are the 16 teams. The stat to take from that is that since they've been doing this, which has been about 5 years, 84% of those 16 teams are in the 16 when Selection Sunday gets here.
So it's actually 7 years, believe it or not.
7 years, wow.
So all but one of the 28 teams that were on the 2 lines in February remain in the top 16. So if you're on the top 2 lines, you really don't fall out of this thing at all. Only one has.
Only one has from the top 2.
Yeah, and as you're right, 84% overall remain, but only one of the top 2 lines.
Yeah, we look back at it when we were talking about this. Of the 1 seeds, on average, about 1 per year drops to the 2 line. Baylor was the only one that even dropped to the 3. So if you're in this initial ranking as a 1 seed, your worst case scenario is a 2. And 75% of the time, you're going to stay at 1.
Big takeaway is that Kansas had a bad loss over the weekend to Utah. And all the people that looked at that, they said Kansas likely, if they were to do it today, would be out, and Missouri would be the team that would replace Kansas. That just happens
you need more SEC.
That's another SEC team, and it just happens to be
so
who Alabama plays next on the road.
That's right. 3-1s, 2-3s. I mean, this is insane.
It is insane. And to Alabama, to the point on Alabama's remaining schedule, everyone says Missouri would replace Kansas. That would leave Alabama playing a top 16 team in Missouri, top 16 team in Tennessee, top 16 team in Kentucky, top 16 team in Florida, and top 16 team in Auburn.
Okay, I think we all agree. We've said it, redundant. We'll continue to say it. We never thought the SEC would be this powerful in basketball.
No.
But back to the ACC that we were talking about, a few minutes ago. There's one in the top 16.
And that's it, Duke? That's it. Nobody else.
Did you ever think that we would be talking about the ACC with the top 16 teams in February?
Let me see it again.
And only one ACC team is
completely predictable. It's Duke, but no, I never thought that, Lance.
Yeah, the Big 12 has Houston and Arizona. They're well represented.
Texas Tech, Kansas,
Tech.
Iowa State.
Yeah.
I mean, they are well represented.
Yeah.
Clemson
that's like normal.
Yeah.
Like what Alabama and the ACC are doing here is abnormal.
Clemson is your next highest ranked team in the net. They are 26th in the net.
They are getting better though.
They are, but I mean that represents your top 16 teams, not necessarily 1-to-1 in the net, but still Clemson's a long way from being on that graphic, and that's your second best ACC team.
Early blush. The Big East could be the schools that disrupt the bracket. St. John's a 4 seed there. Marquette is sneaky good. UConn can be good at times. And Creighton can be good at times.
I don't know if you want to hitch your wagon to any of them.
Yeah.
Brenner got banged up at the end of that game.
I'm not saying they can win it. I'm just saying that can wreck your bracket, because if their highest seed's a 4, that means they're going to fall 4, 5, 6, 7 to 10.
But what I would say is, I don't believe – like outside of Duke, no ACC. I don't think you've really got a team in the Big East that can make that Final Four run.
I mean, if you trust Pitino, which why would you not? St. John's in the Ken Pom and in the Nets, your highest ranked Big Ten team, or Big East team, 18th in the Ken Pom. Marquette is the next one at 27th, and then Creighton at 31, UConn at 36.
I've just seen those teams play really good basketball at times, and in a one-off situation, I'm just saying as a 1 or 2, you're going to get to those teams pretty quick in the bracket.
Yeah.
And those are going to be scary games.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
That's my point. Not that I think they can go to the Final Four or win it all. I'm just saying if you're an Auburn and Alabama, Florida, or Duke, I mean, you could get a round of 32 or a Sweet 16 matchup of one of those teams that could end your party really quick.
I do think your opinion, I think it was either you or you. I forgot last week we were talking about this. Like with the most teams ever going to a tournament out of one conference, when you go back to the Big East, when they did it, only one team made the Final Four and ultimately won it in UConn. But I think the SEC has to have more than one team represented. And they don't have to. I'm just saying, for this season to all come together is like one of the greatest for a conference in college basketball history.
Unless I've missed it during the show, Lenardi had not updated his bracket, but he was in a mailbag, or not really a mailbag, but one of those where 2 or 3 reporters answer the same question for ESPN, and his was the only answer to this question, which was, what did the outcome of the Auburn-Alabama game do to the NCAA tournament bracket? He said it lengthened Auburn's lead and holding on to the overall number 1, and it did nothing to Alabama. He's like, Alabama's still the overall number 2 regardless of anything, in Lenardi's opinion. Now that's selection committee carries more weight than Lenardi. They're the ones that actually in the room making the decision. And will they do another one? They don't do another one, do they?
No,
that's it.
That was it. They do.
Yeah, the next one is the actual tournament.
Yeah, it's probably what the College Football Playoff Committee should do.
Oof, I don't know. I don't like that.
They should do one.
When would you do it?
Probably about 3 weeks out.
So you do one about 3 weeks out and then leave everybody in the dark until you unveil?
I think it would be horrible for us. But I think for what they tried to do, it would ease their burden a little bit.
Well, anyway, with all of that said, Lenardi said that had no impact on Alabama's overall number 2 seed. Now, again, Alabama has got a load on their back.
Yeah, even if it had knocked them down a notch or two, they've got plenty of room to move back.
Yeah, they can move. Yeah. And I just wonder how much they can fall, though, because none of these losses are going to be bad losses at all. If they lose any at all, they may win them all. Heck, who knows? But if Alabama loses another regular season game, it's going to be a quad one loss. That's it.
Yeah. Let's.
Well, I say that some teams could be on those home games, but we'll see.
Yeah. 4 Downs brought to you by our friends at Slice. Great location, man. If you ever roll in to get pizza anywhere else but Slice, you think to yourself, man, that Slice is really good. Yeah, Slice is so good, man.
Yeah, fantastic place. Did you guys end up doing show from there on Friday?
We ended up not doing that. Something happened, and Little T anchored from the house, and I did it from my house.
5 locations for lunch or dinner: Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Newest location in Edgewood. Again, and see the Bajalia Brothers local pizza, local ingredients from a slice and a salad for lunch. Pick up a couple of pizzas on your way home. You're going to absolutely love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Okay, a couple celebrity birthdays here. Larry the Cable Guy is 62 years old today. Paris Hilton, 44. Ultimately, who had the better career, Larry the Cable Guy or Paris Hilton?
I actually saw Larry the Cable Guy do stand-up at the Stardome one time.
As Larry the Cable Guy or before he was? Okay.
And it was pretty funny. He started like it was a morning radio bit, right? And
I don't know.
I really don't know.
I think that's how it started.
No, he was a comedian under a different name before he did Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay.
Is he still doing anything now?
I don't know.
It's almost like he's taken the identity of a wrestler, right?
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing that sucks about Larry the Cable Guy is he's made a ton of money, but he's got to go everywhere in that ridiculous get-up. I mean, he can't not be in that character because it's kind of the way he sold himself.
For a moment, I liked that
blue-collar comedy tour.
Well, no, I love that. But Paris and Nicole Across America, whatever the Fox show was when they first did that, the stage jobs as they worked their way across America.
It was The Simple Life.
Simple Life.
With Nicole Richie.
Yeah, I sort of liked that for a few moments because I think it was on Fox, and it was when Fox was new, and they had The Simpsons and some
they were a little edgy.
Yeah. So I sort of liked that. She's obviously had a couple other videos. I'm going to say Larry the Cable Guy, and it's not close.
He never had one of those videos.
And we never had one night in
one night
in middle Nebraska.
We don't want one night in Larry.
One night connected to the cable guy.
Yeah, no. Would it be one night in basic cable? One night? I often overlook this stuff, Tyler, but you cannot overlook Larry the Cable Guy. No telling how much he's made as the voice of Toe Mater on
He's cashing checks because they'll get him to do the voiceovers for everywhere they put Mater, whether it's the cruise, a restaurant, a store, or
games,
something at the park.
Video game, whatever.
I think most of us will sell out for just about everything, but man, his low had to be the price select where he jumps the jet ski.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go
talking about heartburn and just.
Yeah, barely. Larry the Cable Guy, better career for me.
Can you give me Larry the Cable Guy net worth? Somebody?
Do you want Paris? I'll get Paris Hilton.
I mean, she inherited.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
She's in the Hilton Hotel.
Hilton Hotel.
Right? Yeah. But I mean, her fortune is probably unattainable because we don't know exactly what our trust would be.
I mean, that's estimated to be $100 million for Larry the Cable Guy.
Are you serious?
Well,
Paris Hilton's is over $1 billion, but again, that was inherited.
Yeah,
Larry the Cable Guy made that from nothing, so I will definitely go $100 million.
Hilton net worth has gone down since Paris.
Correct.
Came into the world.
Yes, but I mean, he made that from nothing.
Yeah.
To take
he's
that,
self-made.
Yeah,
no doubt.
That's 100% better career. If you can make $100 million self-made,
and he's got to not only suffer with the identity, but he's a big Nebraska guy too.
It is. But we've always asked this question: for $100 million,
yes.
would you wear that get up the rest of your life?
I mean, look what you're wearing today. You got a sleeveless hoodie on. That's one step
this
closer.
Looks nothing like Larry the Cable Guy.
Just make that a cutoff denim shirt.
No, if you just had to go without,
I got to talk around like this.
You can't wear sleeves for the rest of your life.
Nope, he can't.
Even in the cold.
Yeah.
If you go to an event, if they kick you out, so be it. But you've got to be sleeveless.
And I got to kind of stay fat, and I got to, you
got to talk with that.
That's more Jeff Foxworth.
You might be a millionaire.
Second down.
Ed Sheeran's birthday today. You guys want to take a guess on how old Ed Sheeran is?
32?
I'm going to go, a good guess, 32. I'm going to go he is surprisingly 34.
He is 34 years old today. I'm going to go ginger on ginger here. Ed Sheeran, ultimately, or Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman for me. What's it? Robbins Racing, Days of Thunder.
Those Days of Thunder, yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, I mean,
the series with Reese Witherspoon.
And she's one of those actresses, normally, it's like it was 30 for a little bit. Depends on how good they look at 40 and they hold up. She goes into her 50s, probably into her 60s, still gets A-list roles.
Yeah, Lioness I think she's in on that, right?
She is. And Ed Sheeran, for me, obviously he's a talented dude, but I like his music less and less.
Yeah, I cannot stand to see him live when he's doing he has to strum and get the guitar beat going, and then he gets the beat going by
those
thumping his guitar.
Those people that can do that are so talented, but it wears on you after a while.
Yeah. One time,
I saw a guy.
Bring another musician out there.
I saw a guy do it. I saw a guy do it live once, and the first couple songs, you're like, I cannot believe he can do this. And then you're like, okay, is there anything else you do?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Do we have to build this on every song? Can I just go back-to-back hits here? Let's go. I'm going to go with Nicole Kidman and not close there because I admire her. The fact that she said, okay, I may not have enough money in my acting career. I'm going to marry a pretty successful country music star, too, and get some of that money, too.
Well, and to navigate high-profile relationships, from Tom Cruise to now Keith Urban.
Yeah.
And it seems like her and Keith like each other.
It does.
I mean, they've been together a while.
I don't know if she did the Buc-ee's concert in Huntsville with him, but, he's willing to go out there and do some stuff for his fans, and she rides along.
Who was Ed Sheeran? I think I'll go Nicole Kidman.
You think Journey's Faithfully would have resonated a little bit more if they were playing nothing but Buc-ee's? The wives aren't.
They're back in their bed every night. Yes.
Ed Sheeran has one of the most successful music videos on YouTube.
Which is what?
I want to say it's Shape of You. It's got over 1 billion
Oh,
views.
I would think it would be Thinking Out Loud.
That one's got a lot too, but
Nicole, there's no telling what a guy like Ed Sheeran makes off 1 billion views on YouTube. Because I know we dabble in that obviously on our platform, so I know what kind of money you can make.
Does he get that? Do the artists get that?
No, if it's his official YouTube page, he does.
Because I'm blown away with how many videos are seen billions of times. Like when people throw that number out, about billions a big number.
As we well know here, Tyler, they very much police copyrighted music on YouTube. That is.
Oh yeah.
That is so. If somebody else is trying to make that money, Ed Sheeran would get it.
Oh yeah. If you even have something that sounds like a cover of one of his songs, they're getting you.
Yeah. And Paris did not get a lot of money from her videos.
I don't think she got any. I think she filed what we call an injunction, a cease and desist.
Yeah. She might have got some money on the other side, but not for.
Nicole Kidman's still doing the AMC ads right before a movie. So I see her a lot.
But that's almost like cheating on your profile picture or whatever, because look, she's aging great, but that commercial, and literally everyone you go to, and it's been there for a decade plus.
It's been there for a while.
Yeah. I saw a interview with I cannot say his name. Whiplash. J.K. Simmons.
Oh.
No, J.K. Simmons. And he used to do AMC American Movie Classics, the channel. He used to do like this intro before movies. I don't remember it, but he was telling the story. It was like when I was first breaking in, I was this old-time radio announcer, and I would do the intro to the upcoming movie as an old-time radio announcer. He goes, so I get a read for a role as an old-time radio announcer. And he's like, well, I got this. And he goes, when I get to the read, they're like, have you seen the guy on AMC before the movies?
There it is.
Yeah, here it is.
It looks a little like Nick Saban from the profile.
Yeah, he said I had to wear a toupee.
Doesn't that look a little like Saban?
Yeah. He said I had to wear a toupee. He goes, so when I get there, they're like, we want you to read it like the guy that does the AMC. And he's like, that's me. He goes, I've got this role. Yeah. He goes, so I just do the character I've always done. And they thank me for the read. And I didn't get the
job.
Role. He goes, I didn't get the role. He's like, how did I not get that role? They literally wanted me.
Third down.
Crazy, isn't
it? Jim Brown would have been 89 years old today. Jim Brown, Jim Carrey.
Well, I would say Jim Brown was, for a long time, considered the best running back ever to play in the NFL. I don't know that he's considered that anymore. And, I mean, I wouldn't call him an accomplished actor, but, I mean, he was in some good movies.
Dirty Dozen.
Yeah, Dirty Dozen's a really good movie. And without him and Dirty Dozen, they don't get out, man. He had to run those grenades and drop them in the holes every time.
I'm going to get you, sucker. He was in that.
My, old people love to say things were better when they were younger. But my dad, I never saw Jim Brown play. But Jim Brown, my dad always said toughest MFer ever to play football.
Didn't he only play for 5 years?
I think it was 12
9.
in the NFL. I thought it was 12.
It was 9.
So we are all over the place.
Yeah.
I feel good about, if we were Prices Right, I feel good about my guess.
Did he
5, 9, and 12?
Did he walk just to be an actor? What was the deal?
Jim Brown played from 1957 to 1965, so that's like 8 or 9 seasons.
8 or 9.
Yeah, 9 seasons is going to be my guess, and I think they told him he couldn't do it, and he said, "To hell with you."
They told him he couldn't act and play.
Yeah, I think the Browns told him that you need to quit this acting thing.
Damn, what if he had been doing McAfee show back then? They really would have gotten fired up.
More on that in a second.
He was in England for the shooting of the Dirty Dozen. He had expected a return to the Browns afterwards, but retired when Art Modell threatened him with fines for missing training camp.
Yeah,
according to Wikipedia.
Stupid.
That was a great move by Art Modell.
Yeah.
Wonder why they've never won a Super Bowl.
I wonder if they'd ever won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Jim Brown would have hung around.
Walter Payton, for those that don't remember, that was the record he broke when he became the league's all-time leading rusher. Emmitt Smith has since broken that.
Walter had some speed and finesse. You see any old tape of Jim Brown,
He ran you over, didn't he?
He's carrying 4 white guys down the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of sizzle. Much like Emmitt Smith, we were talking about him not long ago.
Yeah.
You know, Barry Sanders was more in the Walter Payton
Oh, heck
mode.
yeah. I think I'm sorry. I think I go Jim Brown. My bad.
4th down.
Hard to believe Michael Jordan, 62 years old today.
Wow.
If I went Michael Jordan or Taylor Swift, ultimately better career.
It's going to be Michael Jordan. For the people that lived through that, and for people that love Taylor Swift and lived through that, they're probably not sports fans, and they're going to say Taylor Swift. But for those of us that were young, single, and broke during the Jordan years, there's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Yeah, he is worldwide too, but he's not worldwide like Swift. I probably would go Jordan, so iconic.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know. In 100 years, who are we talking about?
Yeah, I know that's true, but
are people going to be wearing the Swift ones, the Air Swifts?
That's a great point
or
by
the
Tyler.
Jumpman.
Yeah.
I mean, a great business decision with Nike for him to own that part, to get his own brand. But 30 years ago now, in his heyday, that's how long ago it was. 30 years ago, when the Bulls were dominant, and we still have the debate that he's the greatest of all time or not.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll ever have a debate that Taylor Swift was the greatest of all time.
And to amplify his popularity for the youngs that weren't around, 1998, I will never forget this. Atlanta hosted the Bulls for a regular season game. I want to say it was in February. They moved the game to the Georgia Dome.
Yeah.
Just because Michael Jordan was playing.
As a money grab.
And sold like 65,000 tickets because they were like, we can't have this guy play in the Omni. This is Michael freaking Jordan. The Omni only holds 20,000. They move it to the Georgia Dome and sell the joint out for a regular season game.
She's never going to be considered the greatest ever. And look, very subjective when you're talking. Like, to me, it's pretty easy or easier with Michael Jordan saying he's the greatest of all time. But I do think one day you might be able to make the argument that she's the greatest tourer of all time.
I think financially now it's her and Beyonce, 1-2, I think.
Well, she just seems like she grinds. She has a tour nonstop. When does she not have tours?
We'll see what she does now. It'll be interesting to see what's her next chapter after this long tour, because it went on an extended period of time, and there's a lot of people that said the reason it was designed the way it was and all of that is that she may be taking a little bit of a hiatus, which only makes when she comes back that much bigger, right?
Probably so, yeah.
Jordan took a little bit of a hiatus.
He did.
At one point in his career.
That is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, again, get in for lunch or dinner created by the late Jeff Bajaya's brothers Jason and Chris. Continue to celebrate that legacy. 5 locations for lunch or dinner. For more information and to view that menu, slicebirmingham.com.
I hate to say this in front of Scott, but Jordan just hit the White Sox at the wrong era. He'd be a major leaguer for the White Sox right now.
He would.
He'd have been an everyday starter the last couple of years.
He might pitch.
Scotty would not be stuck in Birmingham right now.
I can't argue that.
Yeah.
I hate to point it out.
Yeah, he had what would be known as the team leading batting average, probably.
Right.
If he'd have been up
He'd
there.
be batting cleanup.
Yeah.
Duke, a 14-point favorite tonight at Virginia in ACC play. The Kansas State Wildcats on the road at Utah. Utah, 2.5-point favorite in that one. Game of the night's probably Baylor late night playing host to Arizona. 1.5-point favorite for the Baylor Bears in that game. over Arizona. You can play all those games at mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to get the sportsbook bonus at mybookie.ag. That is a bonus of 50% up to $1,000. You make your initial deposit, use code next round. They bonus you 50% up to $1,000. If you want to play on the casino side, good news. They got a bonus over there too at mybookie.ag. Code TNR Casino gets you a 300% bonus, and the casino side up to $2,000. That's absolutely free money either way right there at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Code next round or code TNR Casino at mybookie.ag.
Okay, BS or not, LT, do you trust the New York Post when they report something?
I think it's very entertaining when I see the headlines.
Yep.
I think there's probably a little substance to it.
I don't trust any media outlet implicitly, but the New York Post feels like they like the sizzle a little more than some, so I don't know.
They did put it in their headline that Aaron Rodgers pleaded with the Jets to stay. Rodgers reportedly pleaded with the Jets to keep him, according to the New York Post. The report said that Rodgers aggressively urged New York to keep him from 1 or 2 more years. Once a decision was made, Rodgers reportedly accepted it and, quote, slipped into the darkness for a few days, end quote.
The darkness.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like if Aaron Rodgers really wanted to stay, then he would have met those silly demands like not being on McAfee, going to OTAs, just to save face, and he probably could have restructured his deal. Hey, look, just where this doesn't go public, let me give some of my salary back. I don't necessarily need all this cash, and if that's the problem, I think there's a way that he could have worked this. I mean, what are they doing at quarterback right now?
Well, nothing. I mean, I guess they're going to draft, right?
And again, quietly, he threw for almost 4,000 yards this past
But
year.
if you went to Rodgers and said, in a vacuum, okay, there's no bad press, you don't look like you got fired, but in a vacuum, you can either quarterback the Jets next year or the Steelers next year. Which one would he pick?
The Steelers.
I think so, too.
Yeah, not even close.
So if he ends up in Pittsburgh, which that's one of the rumors, right, is that Pittsburgh may pick him up. I mean, you're better off. So why would you beg to stay at the Jets except for perception? You don't want to look like you got fired and they had the upper hand.
What if you don't end up?
Well, that's what that's what you don't know, Jim. If you don't end up with Pittsburgh, where does he end up?
Is it Drew Rosenhaus? Do we know who represents him?
Because whoever
he may do it
did
himself. Yeah, he could.
Well, maybe, and it looks more like that because whoever is representing him failed him because this should not be public right now.
Yeah, well, I think the Jets are leaking
Well,
a
they
lot
are,
of this stuff
but-
on AR here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that could burn you moving forward with any other potential free agent.
David Dunn is the name that comes up. I don't know if he still has representation, but David Dunn. So that could be it. If he's quarterbacking the Steelers, he's in a better situation.
He's in a better situation, but, and maybe he doesn't care about this, but this taints the legacy a little bit when the Jets don't want you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why you don't let it get out.
All right, top of the hour, Champy's Chicken brings you this hour. Sterling and the crew down there in Alabaster, Highway 119. That may be where I go to lunch today. I got to go to Alabaster, and I may swing by Champy's world-famous fried chicken and check out a little late lunch there at one of my favorite places on the planet. Deep Southern fried chicken, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. Highway 119, Sterling, Megan, and the crew, they have you dialed up and ready to roll down at Champy's Chicken. When we come back, more on Auburn's big win over Alabama. Big picture with that. And the expanding college football and college basketball postseason. We'll talk about that on the next half hour of the next round.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
When the clock hits 0, go to all Next Round video platforms for instant reactions for the latest Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Follow, like, subscribe, and set those alerts. The madness starts now, so be a part of it at Next Round Live on all social platforms.
Make Valentine's Day special with our friends at the New York Butcher Shops. Right now, their Valentine's Day special, you get 2 certified Angus prime beef choice fillets, 2 twice-baked potatoes, fresh salad for 2, and yeast rolls. The choice, $59.99. The prime, $74.99. Available for pickup right before Valentine's Day. 2 locations. The New York Butcher Shop, Cahaba Heights, 205-970-7300. The location in Greystone, Highway 119, 205-703-8825. This Valentine's Day, make it rare quality, well-done service, the New York Butcher Shop. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show brought to you by Champies. We'll tell you more about Champies coming up in a second. We'll get back to Auburn's big win over Alabama. Seth Greenberg was on the show earlier today. You can get that wherever you get our podcast, Apple and Spotify, always back on YouTube, all of our social media platforms. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up at Next Round Live anywhere. Anywhere. It's at Next Round Live, LTDNB. We appreciate you guys being here with us this hour of the show, being brought to you in part by our friends at A+. Brownie, they change. Lovely seeing your wife last night. She is by far my favorite Brown.
Oh, wow. That doesn't speak. I mean, what
favorite
about my
adult Brown. My favorite adult Brown.
Gotcha.
She's just a charming person, and she scoured that internet
years
ago and found A+.
A+bathandkitchen.com. I accept that I'm dead last, but I would like for you to give a little more respect to my daughters there, so thank you for cleaning up.
Love the daughters, but they're not adults yet.
A+bathandkitchen.com. That is the website to go to when it came time to redo The bathroom of the Brown House, the master bath. My wife scoured the internet, as Jimmy said, looking for the right person for the job. She picked Brad Bell. I'm glad she did. His crews were terrific. They were on time every day, which is not nothing this day and age.
Sure, not kidding.
They were on time every day. They did great work at the end of each workday. They brought us in to show us what they had done that day to make sure it met our expectations. And I am, listen, it was a great experience. Here is his number if you want to shoot him a text to get him to come give you a quote on a job you're looking at, 205-422-1758. That's Brad Bell, 205-422-1758. He specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. Not all he does, but that's what he specializes in. Here is his website again, aplusbathandkitchen.com, aplusbathandkitchen.com for Brad Bell.
All right, more reaction. If you missed it earlier in the show, we've talked about it several different times. But let's go into the locker room and hear from, let's go the Alabama side first. Let's go 6 and then 5 on just the losing side of this 1 versus 2 matchup. And we've talked about the selection committee, and Lenardi believes, as Brownie pointed out, that this doesn't really impact Alabama's standing with the selection committee. It's more about Auburn and Auburn's greatness and what Auburn is able to do. Chris Youngblood gets asked about missing the opportunity in this 1 versus 2 matchup. Here's how he reacted.
On a day like today where it's 1 versus 2 game days in town, just the crowd is huge. Kind of how frustrating is it to feel like maybe you missed an opportunity today?
I mean, of course you never want to lose on your home court, especially in front of a big crowd. I mean, our crowd's been good all year, every game, no matter if it's 1 versus 2 or not. So, it's pretty frustrating, but it's crucial that we move on and get ready for a pretty good Missouri team that's been doing a good job all year.
Body language there, not as down as it's the first time I've seen that. Body language not as down as some people who cheer for Alabama.
I hate to tell you, your average college athlete is not going to take a loss as hard as a lot of the fans do.
No, but I mean, realistically, you're going to see this team again in a couple of weeks.
Maybe again
everything
after that.
You play for gets, really once we roll into March.
Can I ask you a question?
Uh-oh.
Do you think that game means anything in the SEC race by the time they played it in Neville?
No, I think Auburn will have it locked down, but I also
don't
think it's the craziest thing that Alabama goes in there and wins. I mean, that's not going to blow me away.
Yeah, because I heard Oates after the game, hey, we don't control our destiny now to win the regular season outright. We control our destiny to, potentially tie this thing if Alabama was to win out. Auburn wins out, and they obviously beat them in Neville.
Then they would end in a tie.
I mean, at this point, there's a lot to be played between now and then, but if that game were Wednesday night, Auburn is a 5-point favorite in that game.
Where, in Neville?
In Neville.
No.
How big?
8.5.
8.5.
I was going to say 7.5. Yeah, 8.5.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Hey, back to how many Auburn fans did you say? 2,000?
I would have guessed 1,500 to 2,000.
Did you hear that there might have been an email going out if there are people with Auburn gear in your seats, then the privilege of buying tickets might be revoked?
I would tell you that they took away a lot of football season tickets.
I ran into somebody.
I heard that email was sent this week.
I ran into somebody after we talked about it on the show. I meant to tell you guys this. I ran into somebody that I'm not going to use their name, but he said, hey, what Jim mentioned on the show happened to us. He said, and I've got friends who their entire season ticket package is sold. He goes, ours wasn't, but we were unloading a lot of tickets. And he said, we appealed it and got the tickets back, but we had to go to appeal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my question would be, imagine if you were in one of these House Divided and you're the breadwinner and your wife's a big Auburn fan and you pay all this money and she wants to wear an Auburn shirt.
Yeah. Well, that looks different if it's husband and wife sitting side by side. The one I brought up was, I'm not going to get the row right, but it's on the end line. I'm going to guess it's 4 or 5 rows up, and it was 4 Auburn people together. They walked in together, no Alabama people with them.
So that was a red flag.
These are chair back, cushion, black padded chairs with cup holders. It's actually 2 or 3 rows behind the incident. The lady it's in that same section.
Oh, so it's under the basket like that.
It's in that section, that close to the players, like little T's photographers sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
First row lady who the Alabama people keep Chad Baker from flying and sort of help put him upright or shove him, depending on which side of the state you're from. He starts talking. Lady goes crazy. Like 3 rows behind them, 4 Auburn fans. Those were obviously sold to Auburn people or given to Auburn people. Those are the ones that. I mean, that's different chairs than the old ones that have been in Coleman forever, and obviously if it's a courtside seat, I mean that's.
Oh, I think you know that. I think that has been a long-standing dictate. I don't know what you want to use word.
Right.
That those better be crimson shirts in those seats. You're not getting away with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them either. That is the epitome of embarrassing. Is that if I'm a home team and people in, Kentucky blue or Tennessee orange or Auburn orange and blue or then at Neville in crimson or Florida Gator gear are sitting courtside. Yeah, that is.
But it happens in the NBA.
It does in the NBA, but that's also 41 home dates in the NBA.
Yeah, but I'm talking about you see it sometimes in the postseason in the NBA.
Yeah, you do. Like the
Spike Lee
would buy his way in. Movie stars buy their way in.
Yeah, I just wonder.
It just feels different in the NBA than it does in college.
Maybe, but I wonder if it gets to a point where this isn't just a isolated situation. I think there's other universities that probably send out the same email to their fan base. But is there any legal recourse? Can you really take somebody's tickets away?
I think you can. It's probably in the fine print of what you click and agree to without reading.
It probably is in the fine print.
Yeah.
Tell us about Woodhouse, and then we'll get to. I want to get your reaction on Nate actually going on the headset, the PA system, telling people not to.
I couldn't understand a word he was saying.
Yeah. Well, you could inside there.
Inside? Yeah.
Okay. But Greg Byrne.
I mean, I knew what he was getting at.
I'll tell you after Woodhouse.
Because was it a full can?
I have no idea. I never saw it, but
okay.
I'll ask you guys who saw it on TV.
Hey, look, Valentine's has come and gone, but there's a ton of things out there. Look, you just want to take care of.
First of all, you can get your ass out of the doghouse if you want to.
That's true.
Valentine's up. Yeah.
I mean, we're always, week in, week out, in and out of doghouses. And look, events come up, holidays. Look, you just want to treat your wife or girlfriend to a special day at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Located right there at the Summit Shopping Center, right off of Highway 280. You can order any kind of gift online 24/7 at birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Let her choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services, gift cards. Always a simple solution. Buy them 24/7 online or just stop into the Woodhouse Day Spa. Tell Stuart and the great staff the guys from the Next Round sent you.
I didn't see anything that was thrown on. Obviously, there's something was. From my vantage point, I guess because everyone was looking towards the student section, it had come out of there. And it came at a big point in the time when Alabama, Bruce had called the timeout because Alabama had cut it, I think, to 3 on like a 7-0 run. And I actually looked at some people on Media Row. I said, why is Greg Burns standing by the scores table at the end of the Alabama bench? Why is the AD standing there right now? I was like, this is an odd place for the AD to be at this moment of the game. And then he started talking to Nate, and I was like, what in the world? Why is he talking to Nate coming out of a timeout when he just talked to the team? And I guess he told him, you need to
it's going to be a technical is what he told him. Next, they've warned us it's going to be a technical next time.
Go talk to the crowd. And Nate put the headset on and laid down the law. And I assume nothing else was thrown. But I'd seen it one time, I think it was Bobby Knight, right?
Yeah, there's
I've seen it a few times.
Oh, I read the most famous one. It was Sam Weish when he was the Cincinnati coach.
He was a horse.
Yeah, and he was like, "You don't live in Cleveland." Yeah, the place went nuts.
Well, that I actually said that to I think Aaron Suttles was sitting next to me from Yale, Alabama, and I think it was Aaron. I said to him because he said, "We're trying to win the game," and the crowd cheered at that point. And I was like, if I was Bruce, I'd walk over to the official like, can I now say something on the PA system? That's almost
to the 1,500 of you that are here at Orange and Blue.
I mean, that's almost like you just gave him a chance to cheerlead coming out of the timeout. But it was just a crazy scene. Here's Nate afterwards. Gets questioned about his team's effort in this game, and Nate's brutally honest, man.
Everybody's feeling good today. We just lost to our arch rival. We had a chance in our home gym to do it. Brought game day in here. It was a great environment. That's why we play. Love these games. But we came out with an L. So how do we respond? I told them this is real life stuff. Thought some guys' shots didn't drop, and their effort dropped. Disappointing. Thought in the second half we get down 14. Our effort, we pick up, we make some plays. Obviously we know Diabate's going to play hard. But we make a run, we come back. Like there's adversity within the game. There's adversity from game to game. Well, we got adversity. We just dropped our second home game. We haven't lost many home games here in the last 5 years. We lost to our rival. We had a chance to become number one in the country. We had a chance to be number one in the league. We all that's out right now. What we have right now is a chance to play again on Wednesday against Missouri, and we got to answer the bell.
Yeah. So what happened last year? Remember, they brought Tennessee in for game day last year. They didn't bring them in. ESPN chose to come down, and Nate last year was upset with his team's effort after they lost to Tennessee 81-74. They went to Gainesville right after that and lost 105-87.
And then played Florida again, right, in the SEC?
Then they beat Arkansas at home, and then they went straight up and played Florida again and lost 102-88. And then
wasn't the Arkansas game way closer than you thought it should have been?
It went to overtime.
It went to overtime, right?
92-88.
Yeah, they were limping into the postseason.
Yeah, and then they went up and lost and got beat badly. Never in that game at the SEC tournament. And he was like, we've got to respond better than we did last year after losing a big game at home with game day here. We need better leadership moving forward. And you've got a lot more runway now and a lot tougher schedule down the stretch here, including that Florida team, Auburn again, Tennessee, Kentucky. You've heard me say it 3 times on the show today. A lot more runway. But what happened, they were bad, and then the leaders kicked in, and they went to the Final Four. So I guess the leadership kicked in at some point, or they started playing better basketball. But he's challenging the team. Don't let what happened last year happen again this year after we lose this high-profile game with game day in town.
Well, here's the good news, Lance, and you tell me if I'm crazy on this. They're not going to play a game the rest of this regular season where they're not the better team.
I don't know with Florida.
Yeah, I don't know with Florida either.
You get them at home.
You do.
Yeah, you'll be favored. I don't know if you're the better team right now.
I would think Alabama at their best is better than Florida at their best. Could be wrong.
Maybe.
I mean, it's hard to say because we've seen Florida at their best win at Auburn, and Alabama just lost at home to Auburn.
Yeah, but I mean, those final 3 games are freaking
they're
brutal.
Terrible.
I mean, brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee at their best can win the national championship.
Certainly they can, yeah. I mean, Alabama at their best can, Auburn at their best can, Florida at their best can. I think you got 4 teams, and Alabama's about to play all of them again. You got 4 teams that at their best can win the national championship in the SEC. There's not another conference that could say that. I mean, there's not 4 Big Ten teams right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
like
not going to
Michigan's leading the Big Ten. I watched some of that game against Ohio State yesterday. Michigan at their best, can they win the national championship? I don't think they can.
I don't think so. And
that's your Big Ten leader right now.
That game kind of played out like Alabama-Auburn. It was like a poor man's Alabama-Auburn basketball game.
It was.
Which
very,
very
poor
cannot believe
man's.
we're saying that about Michigan and Ohio State
Very
basketball.
poor man's.
But I mean, I'm not going to be surprised with the schedule that is left if Alabama did fall off the one line. You talked about Auburn could lose all of their games. But I think it is realistic.
I don't think Auburn can. I said Auburn would have to lose
That's
all
what I'm
their
saying.
games. Yeah.
If they lose all their games, you still could see them on the one line.
Yeah.
Like Alabama, like going 50-50 down the stretch is very, very in play. And does, 3 more losses get you on a 2 line?
I mean, you'd have some quality wins at that point, though, too.
The problem is, like, Tennessee and Florida are right in the mix for Florida's got the spot, but Tennessee and Florida are right in the mix for a 1 seed, too, and you're going to play those teams. So you're not going to have 4 SEC 1 seeds. Duke's going to be in there.
But there is a gap between where Alabama is and where Tennessee is.
That is correct, but if they start losing some of these games, that gap is going to close, and now you're going to face Tennessee and Florida head-to-head.
So he said 500.
So I don't know that 500 would knock you off.
I don't think it would either. 3-3 down the stretch.
Well, 3-3, then you got to go back to Auburn, so you're actually 3-4 over the final 7 games.
Left, so
I'm saying, but I'm saying you would have lost 4 of 7.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But 3-3 down the stretch means you have beaten.
You still got 7 losses.
Yeah. It means you have beaten. Let's just say you lose the 3 that you think you could lose: Tennessee, Florida, Auburn. Then you have beaten Kentucky. You've beaten Missouri on the road, and who's the other one I'm missing? State at home. I mean, those are 3 really good wins.
So Florida's last 3 are Texas A&M at home, at Bama, and Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss is taking on a little bit of water right now, but A&M is dang good. They're a 2 seed right now. according to the committee, and then you're at Alabama. Like, if I'm a Florida fan, I'm looking at my finish saying, dang, that's a hard finish.
Can I throw a conspiracy theory out for you?
And real quick, can I give you Tennessee's finish real quick? I just wanted to compare the two, or the three in this case. Tennessee's finish is Alabama at Ole Miss and South Carolina. They've got the easiest finish of anyone, but they're about to play at Texas A&M. What is today? 17th. They play at Texas A&M Saturday. They got a midweek bye right now.
Give me your conspiracy, because I want to ask you guys a hypothetical after your conspiracy.
Okay. Oh, we got a conspiracy and a hypothetical.
Yeah. The big moment.
Yes.
The SEC's TV contracts now, ABC, ESPN.
Okay.
College football season doesn't end now until January the 20th. The Super Bowl doesn't end until the first Sunday in February. I believe, you look at the SEC schedule, that ABC, ESPN stacked marquee matchups at the end of these schedules. And remember, Alabama was preseason number 2 in the country coming off the Final Four. And I think the difficult of the ending schedule of these name brand teams is TV created, that it is stacked up at the end to have these marquee games where you get the maximum TV audience leading into everybody cheering for March Madness.
Wouldn't surprise me, but now in the SEC, it doesn't really matter who you schedule. I mean, you're going to have these monster matchups.
You don't, but even before it got to be what it turned in, I mean, you knew it was going to be good, but you knew down the stretch that Alabama, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn was going to be big games. You knew Auburn. I mean, Auburn's got a couple of tough games.
Auburn's last three are at Kentucky, at A&M, host Alabama.
That's right.
I mean,
at Rupp
tough.
Arena with Auburn, at Texas A&M, who you knew were going to be a top 15, and Alabama at home. I'm not saying it's Alabama. I'm saying it's the SEC in general.
No. I think they did stack the end of these schedules. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I'm not saying they stacked Alabama's schedule. I'm saying they stacked every SEC marquee team is playing every marquee team.
I've just walked you through the marquee teams the SEC has right now, and all of them have got a pretty difficult finish right now.
They're all basically playing each other.
Yeah, nobody is playing.
Okay.
Nobody's playing LSU, South Carolina, and whoever else is bad right now down the stretch.
With that said, let's get into our hypothetical digits for dollars.
Okay,
and we've played this before, so. You lose a finger, but you get $1 million if this team goes on and is a 1 seed. How many do you feel good about? Like, legitimately, I would say Auburn and Duke. I will put my digits out there for $1 million, and you literally can take 2 of my fingers or a finger for each.
Are we doing hypothetical, or are we really going to do this?
I wish we could get somebody to do it, because I would risk my fingers. I feel that good about Auburn and Duke. I think those are the only two I would play.
I really don't think you're risking your fingers at that point.
Auburn and Duke
are locked in.
You would do it, right?
I'd almost go an arm. Yeah,
you go an arm. I don't know if I go
right or
arm.
left.
He'd have to go left.
You got to go dominant. You got to save the dominant.
You got to go left. I couldn't play basketball anymore.
I know. Or pitch.
But you would not feel that good about Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, Houston.
Well, I would feel good about 2 more SEC teams. Yeah. I just don't know which ones they are.
Yeah. I feel good that either Alabama or Florida will be there.
Yeah. And then
I would agree with that.
I think Tennessee will factor in.
The
it's
only
going to be
ones
2 of those 3.
I would say, okay.
I don't either, but I wouldn't risk my arm on
But
them
I would
either.
go digits for dollars on Auburn. Hey, look.
Auburn and Duke are locked.
You can take whatever finger you want for $1 million if Auburn's not there.
I mean, Duke is... They're scheduled down the stretch. I mean, they were playing with such house money right now. It's like Shire could just say, let's see what this rotation would do.
Yeah. My gut is that it's going to be Auburn, Duke, either Alabama or Florida, and Houston. That's my gut.
Oh, really? So not 3 SECs. You think it'll only be 2?
Yeah.
I don't
think Houston loses again. They've won 22 of 23 Big 12 games.
And even in the Arizona, it ended up being a 4-point game, but they had that game in hand.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily disagree that they're not going to lose.
Yeah. Which would give the SEC probably 3 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 1s and 3 2s.
So they're going to have 3 1s or 3 2s. Yeah. They're going to have one of the 2.
At that point, you say, hey, we're going to get an SEC regional final.
Duke's remaining. I mean, this is just – they're at Virginia.
Yeah, tonight, 7 o'clock ESPN.
Random Big Ten game against Illinois on Fox. That's actually a pretty good game. They're at Miami.
Illinois is bleeding.
I know, but it's better than any ACC. Hang on, they're at Miami. They host Florida State with Leonard Hamilton retiring. They host Wake, and then they're at North Carolina.
Yeah, they could.
Such a bad finish.
But they could lose the Carolina game, and maybe Illinois. Maybe. Back to Terrence Shannon, who was one of the best players going into the tournament last year.
This is so
the jersey retirement and how they had it upside down. Somebody's got to lose their job over that. Really, I mean, it literally is. You got one job.
The AD had to do a press conference and apologize.
Yeah,
that's how bad it is.
I mean, you get the whole family out, and you've got one moment to retire a jersey, and it's either the way it's supposed to be is upside down.
I mean, you got to at least practice pulling the rope to get it up there, right? To see it go up that way.
How do you not hang it and make sure everything looks good?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, roll it up from there. Leave it hanging. Just roll it up.
Unless some joker went back while they had already done that.
Yeah.
Played the joke, which, maybe Terrence Shannon
already fired the guy now, and I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
I promise you it was right. Nope, you're fired.
Do you hear the crowd when it unveils and rolls down, and it's just like nobody knows what to do? Scottish, I mean, that is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
So embarrassing. One of your greatest players of all time.
But fitting, though, if you know flags and understand the unveiling and flying of flags, Illinois is losing a lot. They are in distress, so hanging that upside down is a sign of distress at that point. Show being brought to you by our wonderful friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City and his wonderful wife, Andrea, and him, locally owned for over 20 years. You can't beat these folks right here. A couple of their sons and son-in-laws work on the crews, too. You get the opportunity to work with a local company when it comes to your roof. Storm damage, maybe some of you had that the other day. Those straight line winds, when was that? Friday night?
Oh, terrible.
Saturday morning, the straight line winds were 60, 70 miles per hour. If you had any damage at all, call Greg. He'll help you. 205-542-3531, 542-3531. There are people in this world that just go around following storms, and they rip people off when it comes to roofing and storm repairs. That's why we always encourage you to use Greg from Pell City. They're local crews. He'll take care of you. He'll help you with your insurance company and so much more. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It is Storm Restoration Roofing. Daytona 500 yesterday was really cool to see the President of the United States there. Had the Beast out on the track, did a couple of laps leading the cars around on the pace laps. And then he retired and was going to watch the first part of the race, but they had a rain delay, hours of rain delays. Finally, William Byron wins the Daytona 500. Back-to-back winner, the youngest to do that since Jeff Gordon did that. And about 4 months separating him and Gordon's age. And in the same car, I believe, the 24
The 24,
car.
I think you're right, yeah.
The 24 car. So pretty impressive there for Hendricks and what William Byron was able to do. And Shohei Ohtani, first bullpen session. Did you see him?
I did not see it.
Velocity a little off. Only touched 94 in his first bullpen session coming off of that surgery that kept him from throwing a baseball.
You'll pick it up, fella. Don't worry.
Yeah, hang in there, little fella.
Yeah.
94 right there. So that's a couple of other things from over the weekend. We've got viewing menu and trash coming up this hour, brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Tyler, what would you get for lunch today at Champy's if you were there?
Ooh, I'm feeling the sausage, cheese, and pickle platter today.
Look at that. Good
what
choice.
A great way to start off. Good appetizer for the whole table there. Back it up with that southern fried chicken, brined overnight, cooked to order. Unbelievable food, unbelievable customer service. Go see Sterling and the fine folks. Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's champyschicken.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Make Valentine's Day special with our friends at the New York Butcher Shops. Right now, their Valentine's Day special, you get 2 certified Angus prime beef choice fillets, 2 twice-baked potatoes, fresh salad for 2, and yeast rolls. The choice, $59.99. The prime, $74.99. Available for pickup right before Valentine's Day. 2 locations. The New York Butcher Shop, Cahaba Heights, 205-970-7300. The location in Greystone, Highway 119, 205-703-8825. This Valentine's Day, make it rare quality, well-done service, the New York Butcher Shop.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. 3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Let's do the viewing menu brought to you by our friends at Michelson.
Yeah, to view life in HD. I'm telling you, that's what it was like going from contacts after I got the LASIK procedure done. The right way to view everyday life is after LASIK with our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy Tuttle. The Next Round sent you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Alrighty. So not a whole lot of new stuff tonight, but on TNT at 7 p.m. you can watch the Four Nations face-off. It's Sweden versus USA in hockey. I heard the USA-Canada game was great.
Feisty, Tyler.
Yeah.
And other than that, I will be watching.
You around and boo our anthem.
That's right. You find out, don't you, Jim?
Other than that, I will be attending the AMC Screen Unseen event tonight. And for anyone who is unaware what this is,
that'd be me, Tyler.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
what
all
is
of
that?
us.
Yeah.
They give you a rating and a time for a movie that is unreleased, and that's all you know about it until the movie actually comes on.
What is the rating?
So this one will be rated R, and it's an hour and 47 minutes. And the top choices for this movie are Cleaner with Daisy Ridley, which is a former soldier turned window cleaner who's got to rescue a hostage.
This sounds like something that was pitched to Tom Cruise's character in Tropic Thunder.
Is this like mystery box for movies?
Yeah,
pretty much. My dead friend Zoe is also up for tonight.
I read the book.
Yes, it's about a soldier who hallucinates her best friend who died in combat after she returns home. And it stars Sonequa Martin Green, Ed Harris, and Morgan Freeman.
Well, Morgan Freeman took a role.
Ed Harris.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good cast.
The other movie it could be is called Riff Raff, which is a former criminal's ordinary life turns upside down when his old family shows up for a long-awaited reunion. It stars Jennifer Coolidge, Lewis Pullman, Pete Davidson, Bill Murray, Ed Harris, Gabrielle Union, and Dustin Hoffman.
I have seen previews of this. So Bill Murray is a mobster, basically, and Pete Davidson is the goofball screw-up, that's with him.
Yep,
and he blows Bill Murray's cover.
So Ed Harris is in 2 of the possible 3 things.
Wow.
Yes,
I have a feeling you're watching an Ed Harris movie tonight.
You lost me on Pete Davidson, though, at the end.
Oh, it does not look
great. So 2 things really disappointing for me this weekend, not only the Alabama-Auburn game, but more so were the Gorge. I was really looking forward to that film on Apple original, Miles Teller, Anna Joy Taylor, and had so much potential and a really good concept, and it fell really flat.
But you White Lotus dropped the 3rd season of that on a scale of 1 to 10, no details. On the first episode, your thought of this season is going to be?
Well, it's going to be White Lotus-like, where you've got this creepy sex element in it.
Okay, so it's a 10 for me so far.
Yeah, it's. I mean, really, it does. There's some Dunaway moments in that are just so awkward from season 1 to season 2. And Patrick Schwarzenegger is going to be that guy in this season. He is going to be highly unlikable, but it's an interesting cast. It looks beautiful in Thailand. Place I wouldn't mind going.
Yeah, I've heard Thailand's great.
So I don't know. I mean, I think it's got a lot of potential. I love Walton Goggins. So, after the first episode, it was solid. We'll see.
That's our Michelson Laser Vision viewing menu.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. 2015 vision after the procedure. Make the phone call that I made. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right. Before we get to trash, Brownie, there's first the basketball one, and then I'll let you do the football. Pete Thamel reported, my sources are telling me that there is a big push by the folks who govern the NCAA tournament to expand the basketball tournament to either 72 or 76 teams, to which the thousands of people that were there at College game day started to boo. The whole crowd booed. Boo, no cheering. And Thamel finished his report, and Reese says, what, do you guys not want the NCAA tournament to expand? Again, the crowd, rounds of boo. Nobody inside Coleman wanted it to expand. And I think they were speaking for America. I don't think anybody wants the NCAA basketball tournament to go to 76 teams.
No, I think if we, for whatever reason, would you guys just not pull it back to 64?
Yeah,
I think the
other
plans
way.
are really stupid.
I'd contract rather than expand, yes.
The concern is, according to those that are covering this, is the availability of mid-majors to get at-large bids, because they think it's shrinking because of the SEC and the Big Ten continuing to expand, the Big 12 expanding, and they're afraid that the middle ground is going to lose access to the tournament with at-large bids. This would be the biggest increase in teams since the mid-'80s when it went from 32 to 64. I don't know if anybody that wants it. You say more money. Some CBS and them have to pay more money to broadcast more games, I guess. But I think you could just tell them, hey, we're going to open up the bidding with NBC and ABC and ESPN. Do we want more money to keep it with you guys, or we'll just open up the bidding next time?
I think
that would get more money.
Are 2 segments that want this. I think television definitely wants it. I think the coaches want it. But
because they don't get fired.
Yeah, but I would almost put in your contract, if we're going to expand to this and at certain universities and what we're paying you if you don't make the tournament.
Yeah. Or if you're going to keep in your contract, 10 seat or better. I can't have you just limping in and one of these additional teams.
I just it's so perfect at 64, and we've got where we handle the playing games and still do our bracket. You can't mess with the 64 bracket that allows Sally from the office pool and John from the garage to compete against each other in the office one time a year. That is what makes the NCAA tournament. You've got such a big part of it.
I'll use an old school country word. You can't tinker with this. I think you're tinkering right now with the NBA and this ridiculous all-star format that you had in everything from the skills to the game. And you just change so much. I think you lose. I know numbers might be going down, but they're not with the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, so I agree. Don't change that. Football, on the other hand, after the SEC and the Big Ten got together again, what did we learn about the college football playoff?
Meeting Wednesday down in New Orleans with everybody that's involved. But Ross Dellinger reports that all the other conferences have basically signed a memorandum of understanding giving the SEC and the Big Ten control of the college football playoff. And at the meeting Wednesday, they look to at least discuss the path forward on this thing. There appear to be 2 different schools of thought here. One is an expansion no matter what. This thing's expanding no matter what.
14 or 16.
It's either 14 or 16. I think it'll be 16, and here's why. Because of two things. Number one, 16 expansion will give you 4 guaranteed SEC, 4 guaranteed Big Ten. That's half your field. ACC and the Big 12 both get 2, so that gets you up to 12. That leaves open a spot for Notre Dame if they're in the top 16, a spot for a group of 5, and
2 wild cards.
2 wild cards or 3 wild cards, depending on how Notre Dame works out. So I think that's what you're going to find. The other reason, the biggest reason you're probably going to get to 16 is if you just go to 14, it does not guarantee any new money from ESPN. Their current contract covers a 12 to 14 team playoff.
Okay.
If you go to 16, now there will be more money. That's right. You've got to renegotiate at that point. That's why I think you'll do it.
And if you go to 16, I say no buys, and everybody gets a home game.
Well, there's actually apparently, after seeing the success of the home games, there is now talk about expanding more home games, maybe even doing it into the quarterfinal round.
Yeah.
Well, another interesting thing that came from that is,
which I think we all want that.
I agree. Another interesting thing that came from that is a lot of people think this opens the window for the SEC now to go to 9 games to unify everything. And because the SEC and the Big Ten are running this thing.
This is what I like.
Lance, it looks like there's going to be basically an SEC Big Ten challenge in football if all this gets passed.
Oh, that wasn't what I was talking about.
Yeah. But the reason they're doing that is they will sell those games separately in a package where both leagues make more money.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like that because there's such a good chance with the expansion that you're going to get rematches from that SEC Big Ten challenge.
I would say this. I also, Brown, saw that there was buzz for the enhanced conference championship weekend to have the.
Well, there was that too. I didn't get to that.
For the automatic bids, you basically deciding those on the field.
Yeah,
with the 1-2, both are in.
Essentially, what's going to happen is if you've got 4 SEC, 4 Big Ten, 2 Big 12, 2 ACC, the schools are going to have to declare this is how we determine our automatic qualifiers, right?
Right.
So for the ACC and the Big 12, they may just say the 2 teams that play for our conference championship, they're in. And in which case you're like, well, why are you even playing the conference championship game at that point? Because the seeding is not going to be conference champions in these scenarios. It's going to be 1 through 16 or 1 through 14, and we just seed that way. Winning a conference championship is not going to guarantee you a top 4 seed anymore. So that's the one thing they're going to have to declare. Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti with the Big Ten are going to have to say, this is how we're picking our 4 teams.
Yep.
And you can do it any way you want.
And there may be a way that gets you more money out of that, too, if you have playoff bids on the line for the enhanced championship Saturday.
Another package of games you could sell to ESPN, is what you're saying?
1 and 2. The championship game is for the SEC championship. Both is in.
3 plays 6. 4
6
plays
travels
5.
to play 3. 5 travels to play 4.
Yep.
There's 2 more playoff bid games on the line. More money to be made right there. Interesting stuff ahead in college football. And that could go into effect this year. From what I'm told, that they could make all this work for the 2025 season, right? No, that's just the seeding. For 2026, they've got to have it in place.
The seeding they can change, but as far as adding teams to the playoffs and all that, that cannot happen until
26.
26,
yeah. But they said in order to have it ready by 2026, they need to have this decided this summer.
That is correct,
Okay, all right. That's important news there on both football and basketball postseason. It is time now for Trash. It is brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Tyler, if you will, please.
Another time I was watching a TikTok about Beyonce and someone in the comments said, when's her birthday? Google it! Google it, Google it, Google it, Google it, Google it. Google is free, Google it. What the asking us for? By the time someone responded to you, you could have been Googled it.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Always proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right, the experts. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. 205-900-7200, mortgageright.com/TNR, MLS 2239, equal housing lender. I got to be honest, I have never been to Chili's for National Margarita Day.
Oh, not my place either.
I know they hype these things up.
I think the only Chili's I've been to is in an airport. I don't think I've been to a freestanding Chili's.
So
you have ever?
Never.
Ever?
No, in an airport, I've had Chili's. I don't think I've ever been to a freestanding Chili's.
I went to the freestanding Chili's that is where Dreamland is now. I went there a couple of times.
Me too.
Yeah, because it was there for, 20 years there on the corner.
Do you remember when we were working in radio, one year the general manager, and I can't remember, I think it was Dale Daniels.
Oh, gift cards?
Yeah, he walked around with a bag full of gift cards at Christmas, and you could reach in and draw one, and I drew the Chili's gift card, and they closed within like a month after I drew it.
Yeah, $20 Chili's gift card.
Yeah.
I think I got...
Never got to use it, Lance.
I think I got... There used to be I think I got a Cafe Forenza one.
I would have taken that over the Chili's, would you?
You got a Cafe Forenza
I think
gift
that one
card?
closed right at the same time, too.
Wow. Right across the street, too. So, Chili's celebrating National Margarita Day this month with a new rom-com Lifetime holiday movie. Casual dining restaurant chain and cable network will debut a 15-minute TV short film. I'm going to assume this is not going to be nominated for the Academy Shorts.
Probably not.
Tyler will
see it, right?
Tyler will go see it in IMAX.
It is called I'll Be Home for National Margarita Day, first airing on Lifetime February 19th, available on Lifetime.com, YouTube, and social platforms. Starring actors Maria Menounos and Taye Diggs. New flick will hit the classic Lifetime channels, including big city dwelling woman returning to her hometown to reconnect with an old flame who happens to be a bartender at Chili's.
I'll be home for National Margarita Day. So Lifetime's taking their I'll be home for Christmas model, and now we're spreading it out to National Margarita Day. This seems like an all-time Lifetime low.
Hey, how about this? Project also presents an appetizing marketing opportunity for Chili's, which sold 25 million of the margaritas last year on National Margarita Day. Like, I'll go to, one of these ghetto Mex places, the dives, and the margarita look like it's got plutonium in it.
Yeah.
But they're pretty good. I wonder how decent the margarita can be at Chili's.
I never liked I never
Have you had
liked the
it?
sour.
Oh, yeah. They would do like the dollar.
The triple sec.
The triple sec sour, whatever that sour is. I don't like them on the low end side. I love the ones at Taco Mama or Elite.
Oh, yeah.
The blood orange right now at Taco Mama.
Yeah, you get less of that sour.
Hard to beat.
And that's why sometimes I go skinny margarita, not just for the weight, but mostly to take that sour out.
Do we respect Maria Menounos' hustle now, or do we criticize her for taking roles like this?
How much money is she getting from Cheddar News being on every gas
pump in America?
Well, hey,
I like
look,
the hustle.
I don't want to give too much away, but Menounos, who plays Liz, already well known to the Lifetime audience, having previously appeared in the network's films, including Christmas at Plum Hill Manor and The Holiday Dating Guide.
Yeah.
So she was all about jumping on board for this project.
I always liked Maria, though.
I wonder how long it would take to film a 15-minute film. 2 days?
Oh, 1 day. That's a 1 day. It's a 1 dayer.
15 minutes. I mean, they probably
15 minute.
Yeah,
one
no.
day.
Yeah, no, I'm sure
it would take at least. I mean, because I've been on the sets of these where you do 1 or 2 scenes and it takes a day.
Yeah, but that was like.
I mean, this is a complicated script, Brown.
Seems like the whole thing happens at the bar.
We got to find a Chili's. What else we got to do? That's pretty much it.
What's this rated? Do we know?
I assume PG.
Just PG.
It's rated F for fun.
It's on Lifetime.
So, Florida driver fell asleep beside a store's gas pumps, turned violent. When awakened, he bit deputy's canine partner on the head, according to investigators. Now, the driver also bit the deputy, according to the Polk County Sheriff's Office.
The person was biting the dog?
Yep.
And the deputy.
Yep. Quote, 2 men were asleep in front of a black 2006 Honda Accord that was parked at one of the pumps at the gas station. In the back seat was a 4-year-old girl.
Oh.
Deputies wanted to first make sure everyone was all right, but as soon as they woke up 2 snoozers, chaos erupted. The driver tried starting the car, but a deputy said that wasn't happening, and an in-car scuffle ensued. The driver was hitting, pushing, even biting a deputy. Deputy then brought his canine partner, Zorak, into the fray. That's when the driver grabbed the dog and then began biting the dog's ear.
Oh, no.
Now, during the chaos, the man in the passenger seat grabbed the 4-year-old girl, ran into traffic, causing multiple vehicles to slam on their brakes.
Oh, no.
One deputy chased him down, rescued the girl, while the other deputy subdued the driver. Search of the vehicle revealed the men were in possession of cocaine, marijuana, and drug paraphernalia.
That is stunning.
In addition, the driver was charged with battery on a law enforcement officer, battery on a canine, resisting arrest, and driving with a revoked license.
Was the 4-year-old one of theirs, or
didn't say?
Oh man, that is
I would
horrible.
assume, though.
That is horrible. That dog, I mean, rarely are you going to get a bite on that ear without him fighting back.
Oh, yeah. You're lucky to survive that.
Yeah, he should not have a jugular at this point.
You guys seen that viral video where the cops are chasing this guy and he's got a gun and they let the canine go and the canine's attacking him? The guy turns the gun on the canine and the cops absolutely unload the clips on the guy.
I have not seen that one.
But I'm not surprised you have.
Yeah.
I saw one where the dog jumps through a car window to get the guy.
I've seen that. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. In a scene out of Hunter S. Thompson's books, Hell's Angel, Fort Walton Beach area witnessed what appears to be a battle in a biker gang war. Here's the headline, and tell me this is not incredible. Florida outlaw biker implicated in attack with explosive planned for rival gang accidentally blows up a Jimmy John's.
It's a pretty hefty headline there. I can't believe they got that one past the editor.
Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputies arrested an alleged member of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, Gregory Simons. They charged him with a litany of crimes, including throwing a destructive explosive device, brandishing a weapon, and criminal mischief. It all started when Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputies were on their way to a call at a Harley-Davidson motorcycle dealership in Fort Walton Beach. On their way to the dealership, employees at the Jimmy John's sandwich shop on the street flagged them down, asked for help, told the deputies that someone had thrown an explosive device into the shop and it exploded in the restaurant. Explosion broke several windows in the restaurant, causing about $5,000 in damages. Also caused small injury via flying glass to one employee at the sandwich shop.
If we may have too many gangs.
I've got to cut down on them.
If we can target a rival gang by blasting a Jimmy John's. If it's not in a local bar anymore.
Nope.
It's not at a big music festival.
Not at a landfill. Or something. Yeah.
Now, narrative. Target it, you're so well known for going to this Jimmy John's as a gang that I can set up a target at a Jimmy John's. That's too much. That's freaky too much.
They just knew he was going to be there for the pickle witch.
The narrative from the arresting officer's police report then says deputies spoke to members of the Pagan Motorcycle Club. According to this horde of outlaw bikers, Gregory Simons arrived at the dealership in a silver sedan, pointed a gun at them as he drove away. The members of the club say Simons threw an explosive device out of the window. Soon after the sheriff's deputies arrived on the scene, Simons, a Pensacola resident, was seen driving a silver Subaru. It's not really in the not one I had for the gang member there.
I do not think of a gang member driving a silver Subaru.
Now, according to the report, Simons was detained without incident. They said these explosives were basically pipe bombs. And the Pagans and Outlaws are considered part of the Big Four outlaw motorcycle gang or clubs, along with the Hells Angels and Banditos.
Yep. I would tell the Pagans and the Outlaws that this was bad for their reputations.
Driving the Subaru or the
whole story.
Everything? Yeah.
In fact, the Hell Angels and the Outlaws are probably sending some emails like, hey, guys, we got to get a little rougher here. We got to change the PR game.
Let's amp this up just a little bit. Ernie, if you could do away with the Subaru, please.
Come on, Pagans.
That's all we're going to accept.
By the way, on our man Simons over here, is that an alien or a skull on his throat?
I think it's the top of a skull.
Yeah.
That looks like it could be either.
Now that I look like it could be an alien.
Could be what about an alien skull?
Yeah.
Could be both.
Yeah. Or we could be all wrong. There could be nothing below the line there. That could be just a set of Bose headphones.
I'll tell you, he looks really disinterested in his mugshot.
Yeah, he is. He did not cooperate.
Very aloof. Finally, male stripper caused quite the stir at a Middlesboro care home this week when he replaced the residents' usual knit and natter session with a striptease. Max Hunter was a care home manager before he became a stripper and decided to offer the elderly residents quite the show.
This is just a ripoff of Landman.
According to the retirement home's manager, Caroline Bosted, quote, I spoke to the gang here. The ladies said a resounding yes, please. I've never seen a reaction like that at any event we've ever done. Video of the event shows Mr. Hunter gyrating with the home's residents, stripping off his uniform down to his underwear. Residents twirled pants and props as Mr. Hunter danced in the living room of the care home, which was decked out in red shimmer curtains. Now, according to Ann Hodgson, 87-year-old resident, quote, he has a nice body, nice and athletic. Everything he did was lovely. Everybody was smiling, and it was beautiful. Betty Hughes added, quote, I loved his backside.
I love his backside.
The residents want to bring him back, by the way.
I bet they do. I mean, yeah.
Girl's got some purple hair there.
Yeah, she does. Yep. Granny?
That is a good for him. Making him laugh and have a good time.
Yeah, right. They probably don't have long, Jim.
That is Trash, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, whether you're looking for your first home or your final home, our friends at Mortgage Right, they are the mortgage experts. Call them today. No cost or obligation. 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
Cut number 2, Tyler. It's brought to you by our friend Dr. B today. Our final sound of the day is back to Auburn beating Alabama in the weekend. By the way, if you're scoring at home, Auburn has been number 1 in the AP poll since January the 13th. They have been number 1 in the KenPom minus 1 week since November the 27th. Except for 1 week, they've been number 1 in the KenPom. Part of that is Auburn's defense, and Bruce Pearl talked about Denver Jones's contribution on defense.
Denver Jones was sitting right here. I would appreciate you folks in the media. And I don't know when Denver Jones is going to somebody's going to, in the media is going to talk about him being one of the best defensive players in college basketball. And we'll do the research for you. If you look at his matchups night in and night out, Mark Sears is one of the best players in college basketball, period. And not that he did it by himself, but he did a great job on Mark. Made his catches tough, stayed down, stayed with him in the basket. How do you stay in front of Mark Sears? Hardly anybody can. Denver Jones did. And nobody talks about it. He doesn't have enough block shots, or he doesn't have enough steals. He's one of the best defenders in college basketball. He needs to be on the Naismith all-defensive team.
I would encourage Coach to go watch the start of the show and see what Taylor sent out from it earlier today. I mean, it was the storyline of the game to me, was Denver Jones' defense on all Alabama's guards. He did lock down Mark Sears, but go look at the numbers. Anybody he was on was terrible on Saturday. I mean, it was a remarkable game by Denver Jones.
Taylor brought this up on the basketball show that every time Alabama got within one possession, I think it was 10 times in the game, Alabama was 3 of 10 on those shots when they were within one possession. They missed 7 of those that could have put them tied or in the lead.
And how often on those shots was the primary defender Denver Jones?
That's the Dr. B fact of the game.
Hey, our man Dr. B, best in the business for more than 20 years. Women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. It's sad, when I see somebody, I'm like, damn, he needs to get in front of this. He needs to be preemptive. You can not only maintain, you can grow hair back. I'm speaking from experience. They've got that T3 new test. So easy, painless, affordable. Takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show you which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. Over 10 categories of agents they can use, knowing they will work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical forms. You pick and choose which agents you want. Men and women both. Ordering Hims other products online. Don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money in critical time while you're losing your hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. B. Find out what will work for you. T3hair.net. Call 205-319-0316 and tell them the next round sent you.
Monty is back. Virginia Tech has hired Philip Montgomery as the offensive coordinator. With the Stallions last year, was with Hugh Freeze his first year down there. So Monty is back. He's going to be the OC at Virginia Tech. One-time Tulsa head coach.
That's right. One-time Auburn offensive coordinator.
Looked like Neil Brown was going to get that job for a second, and then something happened on the way to the altar there with them. So
yeah, I wonder what happened to Neil Brown. The guy's a well-respected offensive coach, though it didn't work out at West Virginia.
Sit out a year and recalibrate.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Enjoy that buyout.
Yeah, why not?
All right, that's our show today, reacting to the Auburn-Alabama game. If you need more from that, the basketball show is out there. Don't forget Bama and Bourbon again later this week. Another episode that had more than just Alabama and Auburn talk in it about basketball. You can always go back and check that out on all of our platforms. And don't forget the new Meltdown is today at 2 o'clock Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.